Hello? Oh, oops, that's loud. If you all know of anybody needing interpreting services, Mr. Garza's right behind um, the gallery there, and he's going to be checking in with folks. But please refer them to him.
Hit and miss. Does that say that my thing is outdated? My virus.
It's 6:01.
Could it be? I don't know.
Julia's not here. Should we just go ahead and begin?
Yeah, she's at the finance committee.
Okay.
She planned on being
Okay, seems like Counselor Chavez is getting some help. I'm going to give us maybe like 30 more seconds, and then we're going to go ahead and start.
here. Okay.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. We are going to go ahead and call this regular council meeting today, Monday, August 24th, 2026, to order at 6:02 p.m. Okay, so Madam City Clerk, can you initiate a roll call for attendance?
Counselor Chavez.
Here.
Counselor Zassetti.
Here.
Counselor Vasquez.
Here.
Counselor Dolan.
Here.
Counselor Gavan.
Here.
Deputy Mayor. Mayor.
Present. Okay. Counselor or Deputy Mayor Hart has not asked for an excused absence. Mr. Haley, have you heard?
No, she's probably planning on being here.
Okay.
There she is.
Oh, for the record, Deputy Mayor Hart has arrived. Okay. Okay, council, we're moving on to agenda approval. Can I entertain a motion to approve the regular meeting agenda for August 24, 2026 with the edit to move item 10A before item 6, the public comments for active agenda items section. So we should have a couple folks who are going to be hopefully sworn in to Parks and Recs and the Planning Commission. And we are also doing the swearing in of our deputy city clerk. And that item we're requesting for the item to be moved up in the case that they need to disperse early.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilor Galvan and a second by Deputy Mayor Hart. Any discussion? Hearing none, can you initiate a roll call?
Counselor Chavez.
Yes.
Counselor Zassetti.
Yes.
Counselor Vasquez.
Yes.
Counselor Dolan.
Yes.
Counselor Gavan.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Okay, next up on the agenda is invocation. Is there somebody in the room willing to do invocation? Please approach the podium. We just have somebody signing up for public comment. Okay, if you're able to, please stand up for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our Father, we thank you for this day as we come to discuss business concerning the city of Sunnyside. First of all, we want to thank you for the freedom that we have to be able to come and meet like this, to be able to even open this meeting with prayer. We don't want to take that for granted. I want to thank you for the brave men and women who have fought and given their lives the ultimate sacrifice so that we could be here and do this and conduct this business. And then, Father, I want to thank you that you are here in this meeting, and I just pray that our hearts would be open to your leading and your guiding and the calmness of our hearts, and that we would not be here with prejudice, be here with overexcitement, that the meeting would go well, smooth, would led and be guided by you. And so as Solomon, when you asked him, when he was appointed king over Israel, you asked him, what do you want? And he didn't ask for wealth. He didn't ask for health. He didn't ask for long life. He asked for wisdom. And so, God, I just pray that upon the councilmen and councilwomen and the mayor, the deputy mayor, and upon their hearts this morning, or this afternoon, they would seek the wisdom of God, that which is from above, which is pure and peaceable, gentle, reasonable, full of good fruits, full of mercy. And Father, that you would lead and guide this meeting tonight, and that we would be reminded that you are the God who sees and you are the God who hears, and that we will be held accountable for what we think and say in our hearts and what we say with our mouths. So be with us this night, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to moving along with this, there's no proclamation to be presented in today's meeting. So this will take us to our first public comment. Just to reiterate, the process for public comment, there's two sections for public comment. There's,
Doing oaths first.
It's before 6.
oh gosh, okay, yes, we voted on that, right? Let's go ahead and do that. Do we have, I see one, I don't see the other one, but do I just go ahead and initiate like a motion to approve? Yeah. Okay. So there are two individuals who submitted application, one for the Planning Commission and one for the Board of the Parks and Recs Board. They were invited to attend, and they're here with us today. At least I see Brenda there. I think both of them would be exceptional to participate in the board, in both the board and the commission. And they had submitted their application maybe like 2 weeks ago already. But for the sake of proper announcement, we made sure to add it to today's agenda. And I believe this was already discussed with you all the last time that we met. I hope that all of y'all have gotten a chance to look through those applications. And in addition to them, we also have the swearing in of the deputy city clerk, right? So could I entertain a motion to approve both participants and initiate the swearing in for our deputy city clerk, Miranda?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Motion by Deputy Mayor Hart, seconded by Councilor Galvan. Is there a debate? Okay, hearing none, Madam City Clerk, can you initiate a roll call?
Counselor Zassetti.
Yes.
Counselor Vasquez.
Yes.
Counselor Dolan.
Yes.
Counselor Gavan.
Yes.
Counselor Chavez.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, we will now proceed with the official swearing in of the participants who are going to be a part of our board and our commission, and for our deputy city clerk. Are we going to be doing separate ones, or are we going to be doing them all together?
All together.
All together? Okay,
You.
okay. Would you like to step forward, come on in and join us. I don't see Oscar in the audience. And just for the record, we are just initiating this process where we swear in our board members and our commission members as a form of formality, and as an introduction to participating on behalf of the city. And Miranda, nice to see you again. Okay. We get to say. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Already? Sure. And please repeat after me. I, Miranda, do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States. Affirm that I will support. Okay, let's start that again. Do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
solemnly affirm that I will support
Support the Constitution.
the Constitution of the
United States. The laws and Constitution.
the laws and Constitution
Of the state of Washington.
of the state of Washington.
And the ordinances of the city of Sunnyside.
The ordinance
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties.
and that I faithfully discharge the duties
In my official capacity for the city of Sunnyside.
in my official capacity
According to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
I don't know why I was just nervous doing this with y'all. I've done it 3 times already. Congratulations. Congratulations. Okay. These are some documents. I'll go ahead and say this, and then you can say this for everybody. Right, you're all good. You good with me? I do. Thank you. Okay, I feel like we get to like relive the experience of getting sworn in all over again, and it's always nerve-wracking. Just as a reminder, if anybody who's coming in that's needing interpretation, we have Lorenzo Garza. Please contact him if you need a headset. Para los que están aquí, si necesitan servicios de interpretación, el señor Garza va a estar ayudándole a las personas. So, por favor, vayan con el señor Garza si necesitan los servicios. Okay. Okay. So back to what I was mentioning, there's 2 sections for public comment. And this has been instituted since January of this year. The first set of public comment will happen before we go into the active agenda, which we are about to do. And so you all are able to make public comment on any given item that is within the active agenda. The second public comment, which is towards the end after the end of the active agenda, is for general public comment. So that's when you all will be able to make or provide public comment on any general topic. So with that being said, we can go in to do public comment. If you've already signed up and only want to do it in the beginning, that's okay. If you feel like you want to sign up, sign your name up to provide public comment after the active agenda, please go ahead and do that now. As I see another member coming up to sign on for public comment. So just to set some rules, agreements, and expectations around the decorum, for the sake of decorum around our conversation today, I do want to remind us that per our council rules and procedures 8.3, disruptive conduct and remarks. Any person disrupting the business of the council, either while addressing the council or attending the proceedings, shall be asked to leave or be removed from the meeting. Continued disruptions may result in a point of order pursuant to the council's parliamentary rules, or a recess, forced removal, or adjournment. Disruptive behavior includes, but is not limited to, the following: speaking without being recognized by the chair, continuing to speak after the allotted time has expired, throwing objects, obscene or indecent remarks that disrupt, disturb, or otherwise impede the orderly conduct of any council meeting, booing, hissing, or otherwise disrupting the comments of any other speaker. Any other behavior that intentionally disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of our council meeting. So with that being said, I will go ahead and commence the first public comment pursuant to the active agenda items. No, go ahead. You can leave the green one up there. Yeah, I'll just, won't, I heard I won't call on that person. Okay, so citizens are advised that they must limit their remarks to the city council to 3 minutes. Council may refer items to staff to review and/or research for presentation at a future council meeting. Recorded comments and meeting sign-in sheets are public records subject to disclosure under RTW 42.56, and the names of speakers are recorded in the meeting minutes. Please approach the podium and state your name and your city of residence. There won't be any back and forth conversation, but as just mentioned, we will try to get back to you if the issue I guess requires it. So just to let you all know, in the case that you see us and experience some silence, it's not that we don't want to, but we do have some rules and procedures to abide by. Okay, first on the list is Herminia Esqueda.
Buenas tardes. My name is Herminia Esqueda, a 37-year resident of the city of Sunnyside. I am an ordained clergy and a faith leader in my denomination. I have 37-year career in public service and chair the Latino Business Resource Group, where I lead immigration conversations. First, I would like to thank and recognize our Latina leaders, our reinas, who lead with such courage to make sure our community is informed and all our voices are heard. As August 20th was National Latina Day, a day that honors the culture, achievements, power, and diverse identity of Latinas. Today, I am here to comment on the renewal of the Flock camera contract. Flock cameras pose risks to data security, unwarranted surveillance, misinformation, and our civil liberties. The cameras build a massive information database of our daily movements by scanning every vehicle. Police can track car locations without a search warrant or probable cause. Innocent people run the risk of being targeted, as less than 1% of the scanned cars are ever connected to any crime or wrongdoing. These modern cameras also capture visual details beyond license plates. They run the potential misuse by law enforcement. Dozens of police officials nationwide have been accused or fired for improperly using flock data due to the lack of oversight, as the system has historically weak internal audit tools to catch officers conducting unauthorized searches. Roughly 1 in 10 scans misread the vehicle's state. This introduces major risks of wrongful police stops. Federal data sharing increases risks and fear to our immigrant community and goes against the Keep Washington Working Act. I hope our city follows the example of other Washington cities. Olympia has fully deactivated its camera flock system. Edmonds canceled its flock safety contract after pausing use. Redmond, Linwood, and Everett paused or canceled their camera programs over outside data sharing concerns. Skamania County turned off the surveillance camera deployment. Shoreline rejected entering into a contract following public opposition, and Kennewick and Richland temporarily suspended their networks. I would like to see you conduct an audit of use to date for who, what, and why officers are accessing flock information and what is shared to outside sources. I urge you not to sign or authorize the city manager to sign a contract with Flock to continue the use of these live cameras that violate our civil liberties and increase risks to data security, misinformation, unlawful stops, unwarranted surveillance, and our civil rights. Thank you. Gracias.
So I'm just going to remind you all to hold the applause as folks are moving through their public comment. Thank you for the public comment. I'm going to move forward to Evangelina Aguilar.
Good afternoon, Evangelina Aguilar. A lot of you know me as Benji, and I live currently in Granger, Washington, but I was a resident of Sunnyside for over 30 years, and a lot of my family lives here in Sunnyside. So I too am here to talk about the flock cameras. I understand that we do have a report tonight. I'll be interested to hear that from the chief. But I have a very big concern. I wanted to thank John Michael Aguilar. He's my nephew, and he brought it to my attention what's going on with the flock cameras. And so I just want to thank him for bringing it to my attention. He also brought attention to the mayor and talked to other city council members. So I'm really proud of him. So thank you, John Michael, for that. He's in the audience as well. The biggest concern about the flock cameras, like Edminia said, you know, everything she said, I'm like ditto, right? Is the creation of unconstitutional mass surveillance. Networks that track citizens' everyday movements without a warrant. That's the biggest thing, you know, this is happening without a warrant. The cameras log license plates, vehicle features, and movement patterns into searchable databases accessible to law enforcement without requiring probable cause or a warrant. Does the law not matter anymore? Can anyone just invade your privacy these days? That does seem to be the case with these cameras. I understood, and again, I know we have a report coming, but I understood that the federal ICE agents have gotten a hold of Sunnyside's citizens' data through these devices. This is nerve-wracking with all the facts that are documented about the way this agency is so poorly handling things. Recent records show that over 250,000 children, including 145,000 U.S. citizen children, have experienced parental detention, and over 22,000 children have been separated from their parents due to deportation. 37% of those children are under the age of 6. 36% between 6 to 12 years old. We are 86% Latino in Sunnyside, and city administration is well aware that some of our community is undocumented. Knowing these facts, why would the city of Sunnyside even consider these devices that could cause a family to be torn apart by this horrible agency called ICE? The cost alone, which I understand is over $100,000 a year, should have stopped the city administration in its tracks. when they were approached about them. With the budget and the shape it is in, why would this expenditure be approved? In my opinion, it was a bad call, and the city needs to take down these cameras ASAP. And stop paying this outrageous bill. You see all the other communities that have already, like Herminia said, that have already taken down their cameras. Utilize this money to help balance the budget.
Ms. Aguilar, I'm going to ask you to
Okay, I'm
wrap up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
just to, use the money to create something that unifies the community instead of tearing it apart. That was my last.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. When y'all hear the little music, that's the indication for kind of like the Grammys. But we're not that much fun. Up next on the list is Monty Johnson.
Okay, first of all, I wanted to thank the City Council for giving me this opportunity to speak. I am here to speak as well about the flock system. I've been a resident of Sunnyside for nearly 40 years and have taught in school systems here for 40 years. First of all, I think there's two areas of concern when it comes to flock, and it both involves basically violations of our personal liberties and our rights to privacy, basically. At the local level, it's a system that could allow police to track us. According to the Washington Post and the Journal for the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, there are at least 50 cases across the country where law enforcement officers use this very system to stalk people, wives, ex-wives, girlfriends, ex-girlfriends, even people they were potentially interested in for a relationship, basically spying on them. All of this obviously is highly illegal. I'll let others speak to kind of the more details about the local situation, but I'm very concerned about the federal situation. The University of Washington, our state's preeminent institute of higher learning, has issued a report that names Sunnyside Police Department as well as 7 other law enforcement departments across our state as sharing one-to-one information with the federal government. That includes Homeland Security, Border Patrol, ICE, or any other federal agency that would want access to this system. First of all, that is a violation of our state law. Washington's Keep Washington Working specifically prohibits any local law enforcement in basically aiding federal efforts when it comes to immigration. That's their job. It's not ours. We're not there to hinder it, but we're certainly not there to assist. And if they have access to our cameras, I don't see how that's not a violation of our state laws. So why are we violating our laws? In addition to that, at least you be somebody who thinks that, well, they're just dealing with immigration, it doesn't bother me. Those same tools could be used to focus on you, to violate your privacy. And unfortunately, there is a rich history of our very government doing that, and in sometimes gross manners. Just a couple of quick examples. Martin Luther King, our government spied on him, they followed him, they bugged his hotel rooms, they taped him having extramarital affairs. They sent those tapes to his wife. They sent an anonymous letter to him telling him that they were going to expose him and then encouraged him to commit suicide. Our government did that. And if you doubt me, look it up. If you think that's ancient history, all you have to do is go back to the Bush administration in the early 2000s and what they did under the Patriot Act. Massive collections of our phone records, our emails, our text, as well as many other things. And so this concerns me gravely. I think this just makes it too easy for our government to use these type of tools to track and spy on us. And if they don't like us, we could be in a lot of trouble.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to try to keep moving us since there's several of us still on this list. And I'm going to move into Tanya Guevara.
Hello, my name's Tanya, and I'm Tanya Guevara, and I've been a Sunnyside resident since 1992. I'm going to tear up a little bit. As a Hispanic resident of Sunnyside, my family has experienced the immigration process firsthand. Sorry.
It's okay.
My husband was once undocumented and is now a legal permanent resident. Because of that experience, I am deeply concerned about any technology that can make immigrant families feel afraid to go to work, school, church, or seek medical care. My question, this is my question. Can you assure this community that flock cameras will never be used directly or indirectly to help identify or locate people solely because of their immigration status? I'm so sorry, guys.
Don't apologize. You're fine.
If so, what specific safeguards and oversight exist to ensure that promise is kept?
Thank you so much for your public comment. I'm gonna move us into Juan Aguilar.
I'm just gonna set a timer really quick. Make sure I don't go over my time. Stopwatch reset. Here we go. Okay. Council members, public safety includes protecting residents from crime, but it also includes protecting them from unnecessary monitoring and from misuse of government power. I want to speak with care. Our region, not long ago, endured a horrific act of intimate partner violence involving a former law enforcement officer. And out of respect for the families, I will not name those people involved or treat their loss as a talking point, but it does demonstrate a hard truth. When violence is personal, it becomes dangerous, and in this case, devastating and fatal for both involved. A flock system doesn't just record one moment. It builds a searchable record of vehicles where you've been. The University of Washington Center for Human Rights, or UWCHR for short, found that Sunnyside was among 8 agencies in Washington whose flock networks appeared to have been enabled in 2005 to share direct one-to-one sharing with the U.S. Border Patrol. This report warned that this sort of data sharing can conflict with Washington's Keep Washington Working Act. I am asking council and city attorney to determine whether Sunnyside's configuration, policies, and actual searches complied with state law, and to release the records needed for public to verify the answer. The issue is not whether every single employee would misuse access. The issue is whether this council can prove the system has safeguards strong enough to prevent personal searches, unauthorized sharing, or tracking of residents without a legitimate case-based reason. We, the people, are asking for the immediate removal of these cameras and banning anything like them for the future. I need to be honest here. I no longer have confidence in the Sunnyside Police Department's handling of this system or in the process that approved and deployed it. That is not because I am claiming every person involved acted with bad intentions. It is because the public was asked to trust the surveillance system before being given full, understandable information about what it can collect, how it can be searched, who can access it, and where information can be shared, and how misuse will be detected and punished. Trust is not something government can demand. It has to be earned through transparency, informed public consent, and real accountability. That did not happen here. A parent who monitored every trip their teenager took, recorded every visitor, tracked every location, and shared that information with unknown outsiders would not call it safety. People would recognize it as excessive control. Yet we are expected to accept that same level of monitoring directed at every resident without notice, consent, or proof that the system can be controlled. When the city installs a system that first asks the public to learn its full capabilities afterwards, it reverses the proper order. The public should understand and approve the limits before surveillance begins, not discover the consequences after their movements have already been recorded. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Janie Hernandez.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to say congratulations to all of you. It is fun. It feels so good to see a city council that finally reflects the community that we live in. So thank you to all of you. I'm also very, very concerned, and listening to Monty, I don't understand why the police would be using this information. If I've done something wrong, you've got my phone, you can subpoena my car. You do not need to surveil us. And that's what's happening. You know what? I've lived in Sunnyside for over 60 years, since the day I was born. And this is so disappointing to know that this information is being abused already. I was here in 2001 with the Patriot Act, and look what happened. I thought it was worth it. I thought it was going to make us safer. It hasn't. It's being abused. Don't be part of the abuse. We have better ways to spend the $100,000. So thank you.
Thank you. Up next on the list is Teodora Martinez.
Yeah, you scratched it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Theodora Martinez, and I actually live outside of Sunnyside in the Outlook area, but still within the boundaries of the port of Sunnyside. I came here tonight because I am concerned of the cost, as it is the city of Sunnyside already has a tight budget. And I was researching to see the cost, and it says it's going to cost $2,500, $3,000 per camera annually, because you don't own the system, you're just leasing it. Plus, they charge you for installation, which is $250 to $350 per camera. Then there's an annual fee that covers the cellular service, cloud hosting, software updates, hardware maintenance, and customer support. So there's also additional expenses, and the list just goes on and on, like the poles, the electrical work, the permits, so forth and so on. Then it goes on to say that you can also purchase a program called Flock Raven. Flock Raven, actually, what it does is it also tracks audio. Now, what that means is that it can actually record like sounds. So if they hear a gunshot, if they hear, a car crash, it notifies the police department right away. But it also states that this particular program costs even more money if you wanted an addition to, okay? The bad thing is it also takes snippets of sound, so it can actually record conversations, right? So we have to be careful about what we say out in public, even though we're not near a camera. And it kind of reminds me of the movie of Enemy of the State, with Will Smith. It's an old movie. I know some of you probably, don't even know what that is. But it was a story about Will Smith, the actor who plays an attorney. He got some documentation, and then all of a sudden he was being stalked. And back then to me, it was unrealistic. Like, how can they find him? How can they use the TV? How can they, find out exactly where he was? So the whole movie was of him being pursued by all these different agencies trying to get him because they wanted to get that information away from him because it was involved, I think, some type of seated leader or county leader. I can't remember. But to me, the idea of that happening, I thought back then, it's like, that's never gonna happen, right? No one's going to be able to see me through TV. But then I find out that actually smart TVs do turn on by themselves and do scan your rooms. I don't know if you guys knew that. But yeah, if you ever stay up all night and the TV is off, suddenly it pops on. The lighting turns on and then it shuts off. So anyway,
Sorry.
time's up.
Yeah, time's up.
Thank you. No. Thank you.
Katie, please feel free to let me know or let us know when the time is going. I rely on the little music. Thank you for the public comment. Up next on the list is Marisela Sanchez.
Good evening, Council. My name is Marisela Sanchez. I'm a resident of Prosser, just down the road. And I wanted to share the experience of the city of Prosser, that the city of Prosser has had with the flock cameras. So the city of Prosser acquired 20 flock cameras in 2023 using a state grant from the Department of Commerce. And in 2025, the city council had the option to renew the subscription to continue using the cameras for another 2 years. At the time in 2025, there were multiple Prosser residents who came forward and expressed concerns similar to the ones that we've heard here today. People in Prosser were concerned about a government surveillance state. They were concerned about being their whereabouts and being tracked within the city. And they were also concerned about the use of the data potentially being misused by law enforcement officers who have access to the data. At the time, a representative from Flock Camera was brought to City Hall to help answer the questions firsthand so that we could hear the assurances from the Flock Camera company firsthand. And they very carefully explained to the city of Prosser that the data can only be used by the police department of Prosser, and that furthermore, the data can only be used by law enforcement if there is a probable cause or a case. So they assured the city that this data would not be misused by officers for stalking or tracking an individual. They said it had to be tied to a particular case and that there were safeguards surrounding that. So given that information about how this data would only be used by the Prosser Police Department, the City Council in 2025 did vote to renew the subscription at the cost of the amount, I think, was somewhere between $50,000 and $60,000 per year for the software subscription. We found out in the city of Prosser less than a year later that the data was being used by federal agencies and outside state agencies without the knowledge of the Prosser Police Department, and that data had been accessed multiple times. Once that information was made known to the Prosser City Council, the council ordered that all 20 of the flock cameras be turned off. The city was unsuccessful in canceling the subscription, but all of the cameras are off. It was a unanimous decision by the Prosser City Council to do so.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. There's people online. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll get through this list and then we'll go through the folks who are online. The last person on this list, actually, no, it's not the last person on this list. Diana Gutierrez.
Good evening, members of City Council. My name is Diana Gutierrez, and I'm a lifelong Sunnyside resident. Many valid concerns have already been raised tonight about flock cameras and the risks they present to our majority Latino community. So I'm not going to repeat them. Instead, I want to challenge you to think beyond this proposed 2-year renewal and consider whether surveillance is truly the best response to Sunnyside's public safety concerns. Before committing our community to another 2 years, the council should clearly explain what these cameras have accomplished. How many crimes have they helped solve? Who has accessed the data? Has information been shared with outside agencies? And what safeguards are in place? And has the program actually made Sunnyside safer? If those questions cannot be answered publicly and with evidence, this contract should not be renewed. I was proud to serve as a co-host for National Night Out because I believe in creating positive relationships between residents and law enforcement. That event was a good opportunity, but one evening cannot replace consistent year-round community engagement. Trust is built through continued presence in our neighborhoods, schools, churches, local businesses, and community meetings. A camera may help police respond after a crime has occurred, but it cannot prevent crime, It cannot connect with our youth or make a fearful resident feel safe asking for help. I urge you to pause this renewal, conduct a transparent public review, and invest in community policing, youth engagement, neighborhood outreach, cultural understanding, and accountability. Public safety is not created by watching a community more closely. It is created when residents trust the people who are supposed to protect and serve them. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, up next is Marisela Santana.
Hello, City Council. My name is Marisela Santana. I'm a resident here in Sunnyside, and I'm here on my personal time to talk about my neighbors and my concerns about the privacy and access to information. As a community resident, I didn't know that the Sunnyside already had a contract with these fog cameras, and it really made me concerned in the age of surveillance, data breaches, monitoring that has led to a lot of identity fraud. And it makes me worried for my family and children about the future. If you weren't aware, our tax dollars are the ones that will continue paying possibly this contract and was paid for the one that we just had. And according to the ACLU of Oregon, these cameras not only track the license plates, but they track who we meet, where we go to the doctor, the church, where we sleep, where the children play and go to school. And you may say that these cameras are to help reduce crime, but are they really truly effective? As it was shown that less than 1% of cars scanned by Flock are connected to crime, are not connected to any crime or wrongdoings. The most concerning aspect of these Flock cameras is that it's a big database that reaches across the 50 states and is accessible potentially to federal agents and other federal agencies and people outside of it. And what makes me concerned is that in other cases, people, because these Flock cameras are accessible by the law enforcement, local law enforcement, it could be potentially used and subject to public records, and be even potentially accessed by ill intent people if they're trying to use the information for some wrongdoing. So I really come here today to for the city to really see if this is actually a tool in reducing crime, or if it's not something that's effective and it's going to impact the privacy of our community. And I really hope that we could answer the questions, and we really don't sign this contract. And I really do like to see, since it was something that was signed by the police department, I really want to see what kind of evidence that the Flock cameras really helped, with the crime before the Flock cameras were in place, and how they help reduce the crime. And then also, like, the data that was used, right? How long is it going to be stored for after it's being deleted? And is the public going to be able to access that data through public records? And I'm personally against of you guys signing this contract. I really hope you guys invest these funds into something like the community center. Thank you.
There's a little music. Okay. Thank you. Moving on to Laura Rangel.
Good evening, council members. Thank you for your time and allowing me to make this public comment. I'd like to cite a piece that Humberto Rodriguez just wrote and published a few days ago, August 21st to be exact, on Facebook, titled Flock Cameras. And so I looked over his piece and it made me ask a couple questions myself, like, why is the data not available to us, the citizens of Sunnyside? There's no audit checks in Sunnyside. And so then why is the data being shared outside of the state? Grandview shares with its citizens its data, and Border Patrol is not in their sharing report. Grandview never turned on sharing with Border Patrol either. Prosser shared with nobody out of state. but a Texas deputy searched its cameras anyway, looking for a woman who had had an abortion and typed that as a reason. Prosser has since then shut the system off. So we have 10 towns in the valley with no records. I won't bother you with which towns. So this was never only about immigration. It's, as everybody has stated tonight, it's about mass surveillance and stalking, which is a great concern for many of us in this community. So at least 50 officers nationwide have already been accused of personal use. State bill, or Senate bill, sorry, 6002, which passed March 30th, it doesn't reach all areas of the private cameras, private camera owners, which is about half of the cameras here. So the questions I'd like to ask you guys, which I can also submit via email to each one of you, how's our agency registered with the state yet? And then may we see the contract and its renewal date? May we see the access logs since March 30th of 2026? And then which private cameras share data with us? And who reviews the audits and how often? Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to Zoom. Is there anybody online wanting to make a public comment?
I only have one person online. Chelsea Demas, if you have a comment, you can unmute.
Yes, I do. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, my name is Chelsea Demas, and I'm a lifelong resident as well as Sunnyside, and I could not be there in person, so I'm doing my comment online. As soon as it was brought to my attention that flock cameras were on the agenda, I felt compelled to make a comment. First and foremost, I urge the council to vote no on the use of flock cameras in our community and the renewal of this, of the application and the software. Many people already mentioned very valid reasons based on actual research for why we should not use them, as well as neighboring communities that have had very bad experiences with flock cameras itself. But I really want the council to really think about just the unethical aspect of flock cameras, the invasion of people's privacies, the use of it to, stalk and potentially, harm and separate families. There's just so many reasons why we should not be using this. I feel that there are better ways that we should be investing in our communities so we can increase public safety, and this is just not the way to do it. Many ways that we can use these funds is to actually invest in, youth programs and human services that actually address the root issue to why crime escalates in small communities like ours. Again, I don't have to preach to the choir. This is a rural working class community, and we deserve better investments than being surveilled, in our own home. So again, I quickly urge you, or I just make this quick comment to urge you all to vote no against the renewal. Thank you.
Thank you, Chelsea. Yeah. Is there any objection?
No.
Go ahead and approach the podium.
Sorry, I should have signed up. Sharon Dolan, Sunnyside. One thing, after being involved with looking into city finances since 2022, my understanding is the flock cameras have been paid for in Sunnyside out of the opioid settlement money. It hasn't come from, because we couldn't find that. We looked for about a year for where the administration had spent that opioid settlement money. And I don't know where this money would come from, but I think the past payments for the flock cameras, and Rob can clarify that, but has come out of the opioid settlement money that a lot of communities in Washington State received. Just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
You have someone else that wants to do public comment over here.
Okay. Is there, go ahead and approach the podium.
Jim Stevens, Sunnyside, Washington. In 2011, we had more homicides per capita in Sunnyside than Chicago. Safety here was scary. We started a group called iWatch. We enabled the police and empowered them. In 1 year, we were able to drop crime 60% in Sunnyside. That's unprecedented in the United States of America. And so we paid a lot of attention to crime in Sunnyside over these years. And Sunnyside, quite frankly, doesn't have a good reputation in response to crime. My feeling is I think the flock cameras, there may be some downsides to it. It makes Sunnyside a safer place to live. And I think it makes it a more appealing place when we don't have this crime level. Thank you very much. I would encourage you to vote for this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there somebody else online? No? No?
If they broke the rules, can I break the rules? Can I go up there?
Okay. I'm gonna say, could we wait till the end for general public comment? For the end, for general public comment? I went ahead and allowed them since they weren't on the initial list. It's a comment per the active agenda, but we will have another one at the end. And actually do encourage you all to please stick around, listen to the presentation, and hold on that public comment. I really do want to hear from you all. We all want to hear from you. Okay, moving on. Moving on to the consent agenda. Okay, consent agenda includes the minutes of the August 10th, 2026 regular meeting. B, payroll vouchers. Approve payroll voucher numbers 120032 through 120042 and wire transfers is listed for $597,845.28 for the period ending August 10th, 2026. C, claim vouchers. Approve claim voucher numbers 114710 through 114792 and wire transfers is listed for, oh, bigger number here, $1,028,363.99 for the period of August 10th, 2026 through August 20th, 2026. Can I get a motion to approve the payroll vouchers and claim vouchers as presented on the consent agenda?
Madam Mayor, I would like to motion to approve the minutes, payroll vouchers, claim vouchers as presented on the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there a discussion?
I will share that we did get together today with the Finance Committee and there was a couple of questions. Main one, I think, was regarding insurance, but everything seems to be flowing. The Finance Department is doing a great job, so I appreciate your guys' time and the valuable information you guys are bringing.
Anyone else? Okay, hearing none. Madam City Clerk, can you initiate a roll call?
Counselor Vasquez.
Yes.
Counselor Dolan.
Yes.
Counselor Gavan.
Yes.
Counselor Chavez.
Yes.
Counselor Zassetti.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Moving into the active agenda, we're going to start with our first item, A, a resolution to submit a grant application for the Connecting Housing to Infrastructure Program, also known as CHIP. Mr. Haley.
Thank you, Mayor. Reading the agenda bill, Catholic Charities is pursuing a housing development project that provides approximately 125 to 150 single-family homes, along with 300 plus affordable multifamily rental units. This project is to benefit low-income households, particularly Hispanic Latino farm worker families, young adults exiting the foster care system, and or people experiencing homelessness, along with individuals of disabilities. The second resolution from the Department of Commerce makes an application for an additional $2 million of funding for infrastructure improvements that are necessary for the project, and no matching fund obligation is provided by the city.
Okay. I know that we have someone here from Catholic Charities. Are we going to ask them to approach the mic? If there's any initial questions from council?
Is there something that she would like to add?
Camille?
That's what-
Camille?
You good? All right, thank you.
Okay. Any initial discussion before entertaining a motion? Counselor Dolan, and then I'll go to Counselor Galvan.
Is this? Hi again.
Hello.
Is this phase 1 of 2 then?
So it's for both. So you're allowed a certain amount per project. So we're going back to ask for the balance. They increased it. So we can go back for an additional application for our phase 1. And then because we're submitting our application this fall for phase 2, it matches for us to also apply for CHIP grants related to that project. All still the same parcel, but second phase of construction.
Thank you.
Okay. Counselor Galvan?
Yeah, there's always a concern, right, when big communities, big projects like this come into Sunnyside and we need more infrastructure. So this $2 million, and like the applications or the paperwork says here, the city has, no matching to it. It's going to benefit a city as a whole to improve those infrastructures. Is there anything else that the city can do with with the organization to maybe get more funding?
For as many applications as I can apply for, I will. This is a special one because it's required that the city apply. I also have another application pending that we've already approved for a different source of funding, and I appreciate your support in this project. So when I find more, I will be back.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Thank you.
No? Okay. Hearing none, could I entertain a motion?
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the submittal of the grant application to Washington State Department of Commerce for the Connecting Housing to Infrastructure Infrastructure Program, otherwise known as CHIP.
I'll second.
Motion by Deputy Mayor and seconded by Counselor Vasquez. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none.
Counselor Dolan,
Yes.
Counselor Gavan,
Yes.
Counselor Chavez,
Yes.
Counselor Zassetti,
Yes.
Counselor Vasquez,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay. Thank you, Camille. Moving on to letter of support for people. Mr. Haley.
Thank you again, Mayor. Reading from the agenda bill. People for People is submitting applications to Washington State Department of Transportation, WSDOT, to sustain transportation services in the Yakima County. The requested funding will enable people to continue providing safe, reliable, and accessible transportation for individuals with special transportation needs. Also ensuring them to have access to essential services, including healthcare, education, employment, nutrition programs, and social services. The letter of support will acknowledge the value of this service to the citizens of Sunnyside.
Council, any initial questions regarding the letter of support for people?
Madam Mayor.
Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
One of the great things about the People for People projects that they do is it's one of the sole actual transportation network that we have in the valley, from Union Gap on down to Sunnyside Grandview. There's a special part of that traffic transportation is a connector between Sunnyside, Mapton, and Grandview, so that folks can go shopping or go to their doctors in each one of those three cities. So that's been going on for quite a little while, helping people to get back from jobs maybe that are up the valley and then get home again. So this is a project that has been asked several years in a row now for the letter of support for people. And I really encourage the council to authorize the mayor to sign that letter.
Thank you for that background. Deputy Mayor, any other comments, initial comments, questions? Hearing none, could I entertain a motion?
I move to authorize the mayor to sign the letter of support for people for people.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Vasquez, seconded by Counselor Galvan.
Counselor Galvan,
Yes.
Counselor Chavez,
Yes.
Counselor Zassetti,
Yes.
Counselor Vasquez,
Yes.
Counselor Dolan,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next agenda item, which is the flock camera presentation. Chief Lehman.
What I did was I brought in our crime analyst who manages the system for us. She's going to give a presentation, but I'm going to answer a couple of the questions that were brought up during public comment.
Thank you.
Real quick, we don't have any private flock cameras that share with us that I'm aware of in the city of Sunnyside. The only private flock cameras that I even know of is just because I see them there are at Lowe's in Yakima, but there aren't any in Sunnyside. So one question was brought up. I'm just going to answer the couple that I know aren't going to be covered in the presentation. Have we registered with the Attorney General's office? Yes, we have. The funding, the first year, just so everybody's aware, the first year of the flock system being put in was paid for by ARPA funds through the county. And what they did was they funded the flock program with county ARPA funds in every city in the county. That was done under our previous chief. I don't know all the ins and outs of it. All I know is when I became the chief, I had to turn in the paperwork to get reimbursed. And then Flock Raven was brought up. We do not have the audio portion that can record anything. We've never looked at that, I think, due to cost. It's similar to what's called like a shot spotter program that can identify where shots are. And then if it records conversations, I'm not aware of it. We don't have that, and we haven't looked at it either. So I'm going to turn it over to Courtney Percival, our crime analyst, and then hopefully we answer your questions.
Thank you.
The podium, yeah, please. Thank you.
Katie, did you mention that the presentation is also translated in Spanish?
Yep, there's copies with Mr. Garza.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Council, for giving us this opportunity to explain our flock ALPR system and hopefully clear up some questions and have a better understanding of how our police department uses it. Next slide, please. So basically, in this presentation, I wanted to go over what ALPR is and how we use it and how we have used it historically here in Sunnyside. So ALPR, it basically uses cameras and computer software to capture license plate from passing vehicles and create a system where it can be searched for that. Now, law enforcement, we can go back and we can look at vehicles associated with wanted people, stolen vehicles, or other types of alerts that can be associated with those license plates. So for the last 10 plus years, there's been some form of license plate reader technology used here in Sunnyside. In 2008 or 2009, several of our patrol vehicles were outfitted with this. Chief Lehman can kind of describe that, how they were outfitted in our patrol vehicles prior to that. But I'm also aware of several other Yakima County agencies who utilized license plate reader technology in investigations. So fast forward to 2022, we entered a contract with Flock and also Axon. Axon also provided us with ALPR technology as part of a package. Axon is for our body-worn cameras, our digital evidence software that we use, and also vehicle, also the equipment for our vehicles, car cameras, and also ALPR attached with those. So in March of 2023, Sunnyside began installing Flock cameras. And then at the end of December here in 2023, Sunnyside entered into a 5-year contract with Flock. Go to the next slide, please. So what do these fixed Flock cameras that you see along our roadways capture? These cameras are capturing a license plate. They are capturing vehicle details such as the color and make of the vehicle, and also a time and place, what time it went by that particular camera. The system for the fixed Flock cameras is designed around vehicles and not people. Later slides will kind of talk about some of the concerns about facial recognition and other concerns about Flock, but for our fixed cameras that we have here in town, we have 39 active cameras that they are focused on vehicles and not people. Next slide, please. Okay, how we go about using ALPR. We utilize the hot list alerts feature. This is going to be a set of license plates. They could be for a stolen vehicle or a stolen plate. It can also be attached to a wanted person or a missing person. We use those hot list alert. We can also create custom hot lists if we have a particular vehicle of interest for an investigation. We have a searchable history that goes back 21 days to review vehicle footage. And we also use this as in a shared capacity, shared agency data. We share with our local partners and only within Washington State. So with this being said, some of the operational benefits we have seen, we have developed leads very quickly. We have used regional coordination. This has been a huge investigative tool for us for violent crime. And we have just experienced a big network effect. When we've had a violent crime, we've been able to see and have good outcomes with that. So we've had several operational benefits to this point. Next slide, please. So as far as the built-in controls for accountable use, making sure that the system is being used properly is obviously a huge priority of ours. This is a powerful tool. We recognize that this is a powerful tool, and we want to make sure our officers are using it responsibly. So with that, we have agency-controlled sharing. And so anytime another agency wants to access our data, we have to approve it. We only share with Washington State agencies. We do not share out of state. With the transparency portal, we now have a transparency portal link on our city website under the police services tab. So the public can go to the website there and review basically our policies, the usage. There is a audit feature on there as well that describes what purposes searches were done for and for what types of crimes. We only have authorized users to our system, and that is for police department employees who have signed off on our SB 6002, understanding and acknowledging the new changes in legislation, and then also our internal department policy. We do require an offense and a specific offense and case number for any search that is done. And we also utilize Flock Audit Assistance. This is a program within Flock that alerts us if any unusual activity or searching has been taking place and alerts us that we need to look at it. And so lastly, again, we have a 21-day retention here in Washington State, and all data gets deleted after those 21 days. Next slide, please. Okay, and just to kind of reiterate that this search filters, we have to have a case number and a particular offense type, and all searches related to immigration or reproductive care are blocked from the ability to being searched on our system. We have federal limitations. No federal access is permitted to our system at this point, and it has not been for quite some time. So we have also permanent audit logs that we can go back at any point in time and look at what information was being searched and why. And this last legal response piece of it, this is in response to if Flock receives a direct request from an outside agency or an outside partner wanting our data, we have to be notified first in that process. Next slide, please. Who owns the data? Flock does not own or sell customer data. When our contract is for the equipment and the cameras being used, but we own the data, and that does not get sold. Flock does not have permission to sell our data in any capacity. And the only way that Flock uses our data is to improve the services for us specifically. Next slide, please. This is a little screenshot of what a search looks like in Flock on the right-hand side. And for that, you can see that there is, it initially asks you, what is your investigative purpose? You have to enter an offense type, and we require a case number and reason. So we require three descriptors to be entered in order to perform a search. And once this search is run, it stays with the activity log for as long as we are customers. Next slide, please. This is what our transparency portal looks like in that upper left-hand corner. That is available to everybody on the website right now. And there's also a link in this presentation that can be accessed. And this is just to increase that accountability to the public and provide information to the public that, you know, this gets updated daily. So it's a something to help with the public oversight features of Flock. Next slide, please. So the audit assistance, this is the program within Flock. It looks for atypical search patterns such as repeated searches for the same license plate, and it makes it so we can review those searches and make sure that there was an adequate reason to do so. Now, I believe it was last week in the news, the Flock CEO came out and there are going to be some product improvements to Flock. And one of those product improvements is going to be this audit assistance, to where if abnormal search patterns are detected, that user gets locked out of the system until it is reviewed by an administrator. So Flock is kind of, they're looking at ways to improve the auditing features, and that is something that will be coming out here shortly. Next slide, please. Because we log offense types in our searches, we're able to perform analytics on what the reasons are that we're searching for Flock, or for license plates within Flock. And so, next slide, please. These are going to be our analytics for the past 30 days as of last week. It's changed a little bit this week, but in the last 30 days, we had 76 searches, and those represented 11 unique case numbers. And so a majority of those cases that were entered were for threats or harassment or motor vehicle theft. Those were predominantly the two, followed by domestic assault. So, but the 76 searches were for 11 unique case numbers total. Next slide, please. So for our local data control, we do not share with federal partners, and we approve every request that's made, and we only share with the state, with agencies in the state of Washington. And that is for a 21-day retention period for our data. Next slide, please. This is a screenshot of our, basically our policy page within the Flock administrator portion of this. So you can see that we have audit assistance enabled. That is for auditing or having those abnormal patterns brought to our attention. We also cannot receive any federal share requests, and we also filter out immigration and reproductive care searches. Okay, so I know there are a lot of concerns about Flock. So hopefully some of these other slides will help reduce some of those concerns. Next slide. One of the first concerns that I went over earlier was that Flock sells customer data and compiles it into a national database. That just is not true. They do not sell our data. We own our data, and we are responsible for our data. With private Flock customers can access law enforcement data. That is also not the case. Private customers can give law enforcement access to their data, but even now in the state of Washington under SB 6002, we would be required to seek a warrant for any private customer Flock data. We would not be able to access even with their permission. Next slide, thank you. So there's a concern that Flock uses facial recognition software. We We don't use that. Flock does not use facial recognition technology. What facial recognition technology is, it's taking pictures, obtained from the camera and comparing them to a known set of data of known people. And Flock does not do that. And then for us personally, our Flock PD or our Flock Sunnyside PD search capabilities are for vehicle description parameters only. We are not able to search anything related to humans. And then there's another myth that these LPRs collect private identifying information. This is not connected to the Department of Motor Vehicles in any way. It does not have any relationship to names or addresses or specific identifiers to people. Again, this is about vehicles. So I know one of the biggest concerns we have heard here at the police department is that we share our information with ICE, and that is not the case. We have never had one-on-one sharing with ICE, and we have never directly shared information with ICE. I'm aware of the University of Washington report that came out, and so we had one-to-one sharing with Border Patrol, and we had one-to-one sharing with the U.S. Postal Inspector's Office. So those were the two federal agencies that we shared with prior, but we no longer share with them. That has been completely removed. We only share with 86 different Washington law enforcement agencies. Next slide, please. This is a list of our sharing partners of who we currently share with. This information is available on the transparency portal on our website as well. I know the text is kind of small here, but this is the list of our current sharing partners. It's updated daily, and it is available on our website. So some of the actions we have taken at the Sunnyside Police Department here in 2026 is, number one, we registered our system with the Attorney General's office as soon as we could. Number two, we required our current users to acknowledge the legislative changes and also our Sunnyside Police Department policy. In order to do that, we deactivated every single user at the police department and would not reactivate their accounts until they acknowledged those changes, and both with our policy and the law. We have, number three, we've relocated a camera, or we're in the process of relocating a camera to comply with the area restrictions that SB 6002 has created. And during that process, that camera has since been turned off. Number four, we have disabled Axon ALPR in our patrol vehicles. This is because we cannot geofence basically the city. And so we cannot guarantee that ALPR won't be used in a place that's not supposed to be used on our vehicles. So we have disabled that until that technology improves. We have revoked any out-of-state sharing with any other agency and limited sharing to only Washington agencies. Six, we've added a Flock circumstance code to our internal tracking system through Spillman and our record system to identify when the system is being used and for what case. And that also helps with our audit process to make sure that when we look at let's say the 11 cases that it was used for, that circumstance code is added to those cases and that the information matches. That is part of our audit process, and we audit every 30 days. Seven, we have completed Flock training specific to the legislative changes for the state of Washington, and which involved the compliance and reporting changes. And lastly, we have activated the Flock transparency portal for the public. So the last part I wanted to talk about was the impact of Flock in Sunnyside. And so we can go to the next slide. So one of the biggest things, Flock was intended to impact auto theft. I mean, that has been its very big impact for us in Sunnyside. And so we looked, or what I did is I took the information from the first 36 months prior to Flock installation and then looked at it 36 months post-installation. And what we found is that we had about a 47% reduction in our auto thefts here in Sunnyside, 160 fewer thefts. So when we talk about auto theft, there is a financial sort of impact to the community. And that also impacts people who didn't even get their car stolen. It can be the impact of higher insurance rates and what have you. So the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, FBI, they calculated that the average loss to the community when a vehicle theft happens is $9,166. And so if we apply those numbers to post-Flock or pre-Flock versus post-flock, we are looking at a $1.46 million community savings just from stolen vehicles within Sunnyside that can be attributed to flock cameras. Next slide, please. So the one measurable that's a lot harder to measure is violent crime. And so there's been several cases that we have used this flock system in help solving and apprehending offenders. And it just, from the beginning, from the minute that the cameras turned on, they were being used to help solve violent crime. And I want to point out that in this last case, in 2026 in May, we had a drive-by shooting where we did have somebody injured, and we had 3 suspects arrested and are currently awaiting trial. And I can personally attest to having worked that case personally. We would not have had those people in custody if it were not for Flock. Flock was our #1 reason why we had an investigative lead from hours after it happened. And following those leads and doing traditional police work, it led us to the people that are sitting in jail now. But I want to just point out that this has a very real life impact to victims of crime and having people put in custody. And we have seen this time and time again. It doesn't, maybe every couple months, we get one of these success stories in that regard, and Flock can be attributed to those results. So last slide. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on Flock and some of the ways that we use it here. I have been an employee here at the City of Sunnyside for a little over 15 years now, and I manage all of our digital evidence, our Axon, Flock, and a lot of our digital evidence platforms and other kind of technology-based programs at the department. So if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to ask, but I might have Chief Lehman answer some of those too.
Remind me of your name again.
Courtney Percival.
Courtney, very nice to meet you.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and start discussion. So I think there's some council members that are eager to ask away. I do just want to quickly preface the conversation. I think there was a comment made by someone that basically gave a segue as to why we're here. So I had gotten some emails maybe around June of this year from a community member asking about Flock and not understanding why the city was continuing to have contract with these systems, because they also believed that it was infringing on public safety. And after that, I had gotten some other comments from other community members, and then I think other council members were receiving some questions as well. So, when community addresses concerns of safety to us, I think for me and for most of us, all of us, I think public safety is definitely a priority and wanting to make sure that our community feels safe at all times. And so it really paved the way to then have an initial conversation with Chief Lehman and ask you all to participate in engaging the community on how you all operate these systems. And quite frankly, I didn't know a whole lot about these systems, so I've just been doing my own research, along the last maybe few weeks around this. So I'm also going to take the opportunity to learn a lot more. We've heard from the community. We'll probably be hearing from them again. So I just wanted to add some context as to why this appeared on the agenda for some of you who might have had that question. Without further ado, I will go ahead and refer to the council and start with their questioning. Go ahead, Councilor Chavez, and then I'll come to you, Councilor Dolan.
Can you go back to the last slide, please? I have a question in that slide. So I want to point something out to that slide. So you guys state that it only takes pictures of license plates, correct?
So the fixed LPR cameras that we have on town, they take pictures of just license plates and cars. Now, we do have a Flock trailer, and that does expand the images out. It can do live recording. Those are the trailer that's up for discussion tonight, and we've used that at different public events. So, but when I'm talking about the Flock cameras that you see all around town, on roadways. Those are for license plates and vehicles only.
We'll have a concern with one of them because you're stating on 2026 in May, flock camera recorded a stabbing after Cinco de Mayo festival. What that tells me, it's also taking pictures of people. It's a video of people.
So that is,
So how does that come if it's only supposed to be taking license plates, but it's taking people?
So we had live camera trailers like you would have at a Walmart parking lot or a Lowe's parking lot at the Cinco de Mayo event. This stabbing happened a half a block away after the event was over. Those trailers were down there for the event. They recorded the stabbing. Had those trailers not been there for the event, we wouldn't have gotten it.
I'm gonna go to, are you?
And I actually want to add another one. So really quick, we have a 20-day retention. When did that change? Because I was told that it was 30 days.
that changed immediately when the law was signed into law, requiring that the state of Washington only have 21 days.
And was that because of all the cities closing down, shutting down theirs because of the 30-day retention?
I can't say for certain, but I know that the reason why it changed for us was for be compliant with the law with SB.
Because as soon as it went over to 21 days, then a lot of the other cities kind of started thinking of opening theirs up. That's why I'm asking this question.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't speak for other cities, but I just know that that's what we are compliant with, and we're compliant with Washington state law.
When Flock is installed, when you start with Flock, it's 30 days. Washington State, through legislative process, was at 7 on one end and 30 on the other, and what the legislators came down to is 21. That's one reason that a lot of places turned it back on, but the other one is it's exempt from public records requests, the actual data, so that you can't, as a citizen, request a public record of a specific license plate, say it's your estranged spouse or something like that. You couldn't stalk them through our records. So once that became exempt, then people were more comfortable turning it back on.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Counselor Dolan, then I'll come to you, Counselor Vasquez.
I heard you say technology a lot of times in your presentation. I'm curious of why are you using AI to speed up your processes, or is that not a part of your technology that's being used?
I guess I'm a little unsure of your question because we have used the ALPR Flock system since 2023. As far as any other AI,
You kept mentioning that we would do a search of this or do a search of that. So if you had AI already implemented into your system, wouldn't it do that for them? And they just turn the screen on and say, oh, here it is right here. You request it and it's there.
well, it's more of it's looking back through the records of what images have been collected from us. I don't know, I guess there's different definitions of AI. Does Flock use AI on their backend software? I can't speak to their backend software, but as far as what we use, I guess I'm a little confused on your question. Maybe Chief can help on that.
We don't use any other AI. We don't use AI for report writing, which is a big trend in law enforcement. And whatever else, the AI technology that's out there for law enforcement, we don't use any of it. It's very expensive right now.
Okay, good reason. It's going in and you have someone that's searching a particular situation and you said that it shuts down if it's a stalking situation. Is that done by the computer?
Oh,
using AI, or is that?
Are you referencing the Flock, basically the audit assistance that's coming out, that's being rolled out? So that's being done. That's on Flock's side when they're looking at search, and basically an abnormal search would be the same person repeatedly searching the same plate. And so if that flagged over X amount of times, that user would be locked out until an administrator could review it.
Before I move on to the next counselor, I am going to ask the gallery to just please hold on to the side commentary. We are going to have room for more public comment after the next agenda item. And I will again urge you all to sign up and provide your commentary then. I just want to really keep decorum and continue to have the discussion here kind of running as efficiently and effectively as we can. Go ahead, Councilor Vasquez, and then I'll come to Councilor Galvan.
So before my questions, I just wanted to add on to Councilor Ramon Chavez, comment. So if I recall correctly, for the Cinco de Mayo this year, council actually approved to move that flock trailer camera to the Cinco de Mayo event.
That didn't come to council. We moved it down there.
Okay, you guys moved it. Then that's the one that's by the old El Valle, right?
Correct. That's where it's at
Okay.
now. We move it, the plan with that is to move it to hotspots where we're having issues. We're having issues at the hotel that's there right now, but we moved it down there for that event.
And the city of Sunnyside only has 1 or 2 trailers?
One, the sheriff's office has 3 or 4 and they loaned them to us during that event.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, and then with my question, so if we go to page 27 on my end, it shows 27 on the presentation. It said that the system is designed around vehicles, not people, and it was the slide with the capture of the image of the car. If we can just go to that one really quick.
Did you say 27?
Yeah, I think that one. So is that pretty much like the image that the flock cameras? No?
No, they're like 10 feet high. You would just get the front of the vehicle.
Okay, so this is an image of like the big trailer.
No, that's just a stock image that.
This is, okay.
That's not an image from Block. That's a stock image.
Okay, so that's where my confusion was kind of kicking in, just because of the photo, and it says the system is designed around vehicles, not people. But in that photo, like if someone were to get out of the car, we would clearly be able to at least pick up an image of a person. So with that being said as well, I just have a question, like a huge general question. So because that option does exist, because on page 30, it says agencies decide whether to share the data, right, with federal agencies. So with that being said, would there be a possibility that even if, the city of Sunnyside decides not to share this information with federal agencies, would there be a possibility that while still having our flock cameras on, for federal agencies to actually hack or to retain access even without being given access by the city of Sunnyside? Because if so, then that would still possess a threat to our community.
My answer to that would be is that we certainly would not share that information. I would think they could possibly obtain it through a search warrant, but other than that, that would not be shared.
Okay.
Their search warrant would have to be for a criminal reason and go in front of a magistrate.
Go ahead, Councilor Galvan.
So, Courtney, you mentioned that that if somebody or whatever agency requests data to Flock directly, that we get notified first. So what does that mean, that we get notified? Do they share that information before we are told, or do we have to approve that?
We've never had an outside request where Flock has notified us that someone else was attempting to seek our information somehow. So I can't really speak to that because we've just never had that request. But this would be in the form of if another, let's say another state produced a search warrant to Flock to try to get our information. We would be notified first, and then we would have to go through our legal process to either fulfill that or get an injunction against it.
Because we own the data, they would have to serve us with the search warrant.
And then we decide if we want to give it to them based on compliance?
Yes, if it's a search warrant signed by a judge, we would have a hard time denying that. I would imagine our city legal would say we'd have to produce the data.
My other question, when you talked about searching for wanted people, wanted by who? Does ICE get to put
No.
people on hot lists?
No. These are going to be Washington state specific warrants that are related to criminal matters. No civil enforcement, no ICE, nothing like that.
But they have to be associated with the license plate, right?
Correct. If there's a person associated with the license plate as a known driver, that could possibly be linked together, but they are for criminal matters only.
Immigration is a civil enforcement, and so they wouldn't be able to get a search warrant for our data to use it for immigration enforcement.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question, and then I'm gonna go to Councilor Vasquez and then to you, okay? Councilor Chavez. So let's see, I'm gonna kind of start at the beginning. As I've been doing some research about how Flock landed in Sunnyside back in 2023. Our city clerk sent us all contracts, and you should all have them in your inbox from the inceptions of time of when these flock systems were discussed in council. And correct me if I'm wrong, as I'm kind of recounting some of that information. The conversation started in 2022? Okay.
Yeah, I believe so.
2022, okay. And then you said that we started using them in 2023.
That's correct.
Okay. And after having a conversation with Chief Lehman, he mentioned that in 2020, when we first started with the flock cameras, the initial camera setup was funded through ARPA monies
Through the county's ARPA money for the first year is my understanding.
for the first year. And going through those contracts, what I've learned is that initially we paid about $140,000.
Right, and that, I believe is for the setup for the first year. And then the rate reduces for the, ongoing operation.
So then I found a contract, and I don't remember if it was 2023. And it said every year after, the city's paying around $102,000, $103,000 to continue the flock system.
Correct.
So given that ARPA is one-time monies and we should already be expending them through this year, what money is funding our flock system currently?
That's the general fund.
The general fund.
Right. Pretty much all police operations come out of the general fund.
According to this contract, by the end of the 5 years, because a multi-year contract was signed in 2023,
I believe so, yes.
by the end of year 2028, the city will be paying $500,000 for these cameras, according to the contract.
Like a 5-year contract at 103.
Yeah, over the term of that,
It's
yes.
like maybe 512
Over the term of the contract.
over the term of the contract. So by the end of 2028.
Correct.
Yeah. So, and you said there's around 40 cameras installed?
Correct. There's 40 of the ALPR cameras.
Okay. So, given that, we are in a big financial struggle right now, right? We just came off the heels of our Friday's meeting we were all a part of, and we did not get good news. We found that we've gotten poor advice from our previous finance director, and we continue to be in a deficit, and that information is going to come out to the public. And, it's information that's disheartening, and, as we continue struggling as a community. Given that now I know that this information, that these cameras are being funded by the general fund, which is directly our taxpayer money, it's quite concerning, especially concerning that by the end of 2028, we would have invested $500,000, a little over $500,000. And from some information that was, I don't know if you'll probably get to that, from information from Finance Committee?
Yeah, as far as I understood, we pay, I think it's $102,000 a year for the system, but it was only budgeted $48,000 a year. Correct me if I'm wrong. $25,000 a year for the past year, but we paid $102,000. So that's a big gap in monies right there.
That's correct. So I submitted my budget, and I showed her today. I said, this is what I submitted, and I submitted $130,000 for that line item to include the 102 and the trailer. Without meeting with me, finance changed it to 25, because I would have told them we're bound by contracts. We can't just adjust that. We're obligated to pay those contracts.
So I'm just going to wrap up. I do have a ton more questions, but I'm going to wrap this one up. So it seems that that per the contract that we all have and that I read, we're paying about 102, 103. Those are supposed to be coming out of our general fund. Now we've learned today that about $102,000 or $103,000 should have been budgeted, but only $25,000 has been budgeted for it. So that means we can't afford this. I have other questions, But I'm gonna go ahead and go to Counselor Vasquez, and then I will go to the next person just to allow the rotation to continue.
Yeah, so I have a list of questions, but I'm also going to go kind of one at a time. So my other one was, when was this Flock transparency portal posted for public access?
So that just came out of the Senate bill, and it's been posted for about, I think about 8 days, 9 days. We just got it posted.
8 days ago?
It's a new tool that Flock has released, and so we just got it put on our website.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Counselor Galvan.
Corny, when an officer enters the case number, right, when they're trying to search something, does the system detect that it's an actual case number, or they're just making a number up?
No, it does not, it does not interface with our record system. And so that case number has to be put in there correctly, and then we can compare it to our record system, but they are not linked.
But you audit them monthly?
Yes.
And do you audit those case numbers to make sure that our officers are being held accountable and they're not misusing the system?
Yes, that is 100% the process, because we also want to make sure that, number one, it's not being misused, but number two, we're also tracking the use of it and what cases it's being used on specifically. And those both need to match up correctly.
And here's one more question, and then
Go ahead.
what's the consequence if an officer, what's the policy say if an officer is caught misusing it?
But there's a range of discipline measures that is kind of outlined in our Sunnyside PD policy. Unfortunately, I'm not the discipline person, so I can't say that, but they would be subject to discipline according to our discipline procedures.
I do handle the discipline. It would be time off. But you can also be charged with a crime at the state level as part of the Senate bill if you're improperly using the system.
Okay, and you refer that to county prosecutor at that
Yeah,
time?
that would go to the Acton County prosecutor.
Yes, it's considered, I believe, a gross misdemeanor now.
We pay the county prosecutor.
Can I add?
Yes,
I
go ahead.
know that it wasn't budgeted appropriately. However, we are under contract. And before we take any decisions, I would like for all of you, encourage you to read the contract and see what the consequences would be if you guys decide not to move forward with it as well.
Anybody else have any questions?
You know,
Councilor Ramon?
I do. I wanted to, bring this up with our chief. What assurance can you give our community that no other agency is using our flock cameras in a malicious way?
In a malicious way?
Or in any way?
So we do share with agencies within Washington, and the reason we restrict it to only Washington is they're bound by the same laws we are. That's that they don't work with ICE. If they misuse the system, they're guilty of a gross misdemeanor, and that they can't use it for reproductive care or immigration enforcement. Those are the laws in the state of Washington. So any officer in the state of Washington that's a certified state peace officer that's using this system is bound by those laws. I can't guarantee that somebody from another state's bound by those laws or that a federal officer is bound by those laws, and that's why we don't share out of state or with federal partners.
So so I'm trying to kind of picture it here. So are you telling our community that ICE is not using it for sure?
Yes, and I can tell you if ICE is using it, I'll shut the system off, and then I'll just come notify you guys that I shut the system off, because that's going to put the city in risk, and it's going to put our officers at potential criminal charges if they're sharing with ICE. We won't do it.
Me?
Yeah, you do have your hand up.
Oh, yeah.
I'll let you go and then I'll go.
So I know we changed it to 21 days per state law. Can the city decide to change it to 7 days?
We can.
I'd also like to add on that is part of Flock's kind of improvement of the system is, I believe that's going to change for any user in Flock where it will only be 7 days beginning January 1st. That is an improvement that they have also rolled out within their company.
So come January 1st, it's going to go to 7 days.
Yeah, and that's reducing it to 7 days, if that was the desire of the council, is something that we could look at and make it a shorter time frame.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why, if it's going to be changed in January anyways, I don't see why we couldn't change it as of today or tomorrow.
Oh, go ahead, Counselor, or
Yeah,
Deputy Mayor.
So basically, if the House Bill 60.
6002.
6002.
Senate bill.
Senate bill, thank you. So that listed, just to try to get all those little pieces, because you've got to go scatter them all out, all the things that that particular bill allows or limits. So one of those things was a change in the number of days that a district could, or an agency could hold on to any data that was collected. I think before, was it 31 days?
30, and now it's
30?
20 now it's 21.
And we've moved it to 21. And now you're saying that's a possibility of being able to move that detention or retention down to 7 days. Is that the lowest?
I believe that Flock wants to automatically change everybody to 7 days. That's the email we got Friday, I believe, from Flock. That just went out company-wide, that they want to reduce it to 7 days, January 1.
Okay, so we have a state law that says 21. But
Correct.
Flock, the company, is thinking of changing it to 7.
Correct.
Okay, so but also about the cost here, the contract that we were going to be discussing later tonight was for $48,000 for 2 years for the one Flock camera that we have, the live trailer.
That's the trailer that we're talking about tonight, correct?
Yeah, the trailer.
And that's, I believe, 24,000 per year for 2 years.
Okay, so that's not the cameras that are on this, where the,
Correct. That's something different.
yeah, it's something totally different. So the system, the Flock system that we're talking about are the cameras that are at the various stop sign up and down Yakima County Valley.
They're not necessarily at stop signs. They're, most of them are like ingress and egress out of the city and areas where we have a lot of crime. We try and get ingress and egress. The way this is used mostly is you have a shooting or something to that effect at 3 o'clock in the morning, very few cars out. Let's go see what cars were in the area at the time and start our investigation there.
Right, okay.
That's how we caught that's how the last one basically worked. There was 3 cars in the area of the shooting, within 20 minutes of the shooting. So we narrowed the cars down, and then I think a ring camera or something caught one of them in the area, or somebody said it was this color SUV. Okay, well, now we've got the Flock of that vehicle in the area. And that's what led us to the suspects.
So it was actually, you said it was a ring,
I can't remember if it was a ring camera or eyewitness.
It was a combination of other surveillance systems, personally owned surveillance systems that people shared with us, and then witness testimony.
okay. Just was curious about that part. So in any case, when we were talking in Finance Committee today, we were talking about the fact that we really didn't have the right amount of money budgeted into for this year for the renewal of the contract. The only contract we're renewing is for the trailer. Is that right?
So we're under contract on the other ones.
Already under contract,
We're under contract until 2028.
2028.
When I put in my budget request for last year, in that particular line item, I put enough to cover both the Flock cameras, which we're obligated to pay at 102,000, and the request for the trailer this year at I believe I estimated 25.
Okay.
What the previous finance director did was just put 25 in there and disregarded the 102, which we're under contract to pay. Whether we shut the system off or not, we're going to be paying for it. I mean, I don't see an out in the contract from what I read. I haven't sent it to legal, but
Well, we've heard that from other cities too, that they were still under contract, whether they had them on or off. So, yeah. Okay, so basically the money that we only had 25,000 budgeted, it was supposed to be 100 plus, it was supposed to be plus 102,000. Am I hearing that right? Oh, 25.
Jessica, could you speak into the mic? Thank you.
It was, the contracts were 102 on a yearly basis, and 25K was budgeted for that.
For that contract?
Yeah. So way under budgeted. Okay.
I have a question.
Oh, okay.
Go
Can I
ahead.
ask my question? Okay. And so just to kind of get this cleared up, there's the 102,000 that you requested for it to be budgeted for, and we only have 25,000 actually budgeted for that. But now I know we're gonna get into item C, but I'm just trying to clear this up. For item C, that's a different line item, or is that a different monies that we're asking for the 48,000 for the renewal of the video?
so this is, what we're bringing next is the flock trailer only. And that was a 2-year contract. The first year was paid out of opioid funds. The second year was the city paid for it. So when I put my budget request in that line item, we spent 102,000 the year before. I asked for 122, and I put in my notes, add the trailer cost. What the previous finance director did to make the budget balance, I guess, just put 25,000 in that line item. So that significantly shorted us. And that's for the flock system. Now that trailer expires at the end of this month. So we either return it or we renew the contract. So that's what I'm bringing to you tonight.
I'm going to go to Counselor Vasquez and then you, Counselor Sasadi.
Okay, so yeah, that was gonna be my following question. So was opioid money ever used for these flock cameras? But it sounds like it was solely used for that trailer.
For the first year, yes. Because at the time, the plan was to put it at the hotels because we'd had so many overdoses there. And what we wanted to be able to do was charge somebody with furnishing the drugs to somebody that overdosed and died. So we put it at the hotel, and then the hotel's going through its issues, so it's really never left there because we've had so much crime and issues there. We did remove it for 3 days, 4 days for Cinco de Mayo, and then it went right back.
Okay, and then so to go back to the rest of the flock cameras, so 2023 it came out of ARPA funds, and then for 2024, 25, 26, those 3 years, it's all come out of general?
To my knowledge, the first year was paid out of ARPA funds from the county's ARPA funds.
From the county?
And that was the 140,000 the very first year to get the system up and running. And that's what they paid for in every city or municipality in the county. After that, it was responsibility of the cities to pay for it.
The city started in 2024.
Probably would be my guess because they were installed in 23. So at 24 cents, I would assume they've been coming out, well, they've been coming out of the general fund because they've been coming out of the law enforcement budget. In 521 is the fund it's coming out of.
Okay,
521.
Technically, per contract, we still have 2 more years till end of 2028.
Correct.
Go ahead, Counselor Sasadi.
Well, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So the flock system itself is a separate contract from the trailer?
Correct.
Okay, so that's what we're going to discuss,
We're going to discuss the trailer next.
the trailer itself. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was understanding correctly.
Okay. So anybody else have a question?
I have questions, but it'll be for the trailers. I'll wait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I don't know if this is for the trailer, but so because well, maybe it is for the trailer because if that was paid for the opioid funds, my question was going to be because you all mentioned deterring crime and how it's really helped with crime deterrence. Flock systems have helped with deterring crime in the city. And those you mentioned are the pros to having the system in place. So according to the U.S. Department of Justice, they state that the license plate recognition technology, listing it as such as a crime deterrent is actually ineffective. So knowing that the opioid funds covered some of these expenses, I would like to know if there's data around overdose, if there's been a reduction in overdoses happening. If we have been catching folks that are out there dealing drug. I know right now we're currently in a fentanyl crisis across the county, really across the country. So if we're measuring success, I think that's the way that I would measure success having this technology in place is how are we reducing crime, not like after the fact we're catching folks, but how are we making sure that those folks aren't doing that in the first place? You know, someone just mentioned, you know, investing some of this money. If we could invest some of this money back into the community center, and the way that I see it is that I believe that as a community and as a city, we're not doing enough around prevention. And we must be doing more around prevention if we actually want to get to the root cause of the issues that are occurring across the city. So yes, that is shootings. Yes, that is stabbing. Yes, that is theft. Absolutely, yes, there are overdose cases. So I would want to know, I've heard auditing along the way, and I definitely would appreciate an audit and the information. But within that, I want to understand the data around reducing any of these crime overdoses, thefts that y'all say are car theft that are happening in, across the city. Like, are we actually getting to the root cause? Because if not, how could we reinvest our money into prevention, youth programming, youth support, mentorship, mentoring, to make sure that we're getting to the root cause of these issues? Because I feel like, we talk about these flock systems. Nobody agrees with crime, right? Nobody agrees with theft, with shooting, with murdering somebody else. Nobody agrees with that. But how are we actually going to remedy this? Like, literally, really at the root level.
Well, I've got two things on that. The first one is, yes, overdoses have significantly decreased at the hotel, but about the time we put the trailer there, it was half vacant. So that doesn't really, we can't really quantify that. Now, I will tell you that when we moved the trailer away for a couple of days for Cinco de Mayo, the Yakima County Human Services Division called me and said, will you please bring the trailer back? There's been all kinds of crime since it was gone. And I said, well, I can bring it back after Sunday when Cinco de Mayo is done, but we need to have it down there because we had a shooting 4 years ago down there. And so we took it back, and she said, thank you. The people the residents that are there feel safer with the camera in the parking lot. What those crimes were and how bad it was for those 3 or 4 days, I'm not really sure. She just begged that we bring it back.
Did you say this was the owner?
This was Yakima County Human Services. Melissa,
Yakima.
she came and spoke, I don't know, a couple months ago to council.
She's with the, I believe, the Yakima County Human Services.
Yep, Melissa Holm.
Go ahead, Councilor Goodman.
Are we moving on to the next item for the flock trailer, or?
We can, if there's no other questions around the presentation. Let me just make sure I don't have any other questions. Oh, yes, I had one more question. Go ahead.
Well, no, I just wanted to say, we those assurances that you mentioned about that the flock cameras, not the trailer, not the live trailer, but the flock cameras themselves are just for reading license plates. And then, but you also said like the color of the car, the vehicle. And there was the third thing. There were like three things that the readers would capture.
Yes. So when a flock image, it would be, let's say, the back of a vehicle. It's going to be able to determine the make of the vehicle, the license plate and color, and possibly stickers in the back.
And possibly what?
And possibly any like unique features, like stickers or damage or, a trailer or.
Okay. Okay. So, so those things are right now, those are the only things. And it would cost extra money to add any additives or amendments to it. A lot of money.
Like the sound and
Like
things
the
like that.
sound,
We're
like-
not looking at that.
Yeah, no, we are not now,
No,
but could be in the future if it,
I think the cost would put it right out of our budget. The shot spotter system, I would imagine, is another at least 100,000 a year to add the
Okay,
microphones.
okay.
Our searching parameters are limited to vehicle descriptors.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to be clear that's where the restrictions were. But can I have one more question? The one more question that I have is you've said several times tonight that we only allow our information to go to other agencies, it's kind of just the network within the state of Washington.
Correct.
So there was 84 agencies that we're talking about? Was that it?
I believe the number is 86.
86, so it's pretty close.
If you go to
I
the
was just trying
transparency portal, you can see what agencies we share with and what agencies share with us. There are out-of-state agencies that share with us, but we don't reciprocate.
Okay. So how did then, this puts you on the spot a little bit, and you may not even have an answer for this, but how then did it show on this University of Washington report that Sunnyside had released, or somehow information data from Sunnyside had ended up in this report that the UW is doing as having given up information for ICE or Border Control? I mean, I'm assuming you have an answer for that that's comforting.
Well, it was Border Patrol, and how it was, I don't manage the day-to-day operations of the system. I don't know if Courtney has an answer for it, but
So, yeah, basically before any restrictions in place, we shared with out of state and we shared with those two federal partners. And that was a decision that was made internally.
So when did that particular, Madam Mayor, I'm adding to my question here, but so when did that taking out, deciding not to engage with Border Control and ICE, when did that happen?
Well, it's Border Patrol, it's not ICE. They're two
I'm sorry.
separate agencies.
Yes, excuse me, ICE. But you're working
It's
with
been about a year now that we stopped sharing with them, about 10 months ago.
10 months ago. So it's relatively a new situation.
Correct.
So anything that happened that may have been happening before 10 months ago, we don't know how much data might have been released.
I don't, and I don't know how we check that. When we found out that they had access to our system, we shut it off right away.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That answers my question, I think, for now.
I'm going to go to Councilor Galvan and then to you, Councilor Vasquez, and then we'll try to wrap it up to go on to the next item.
So Chief, since we've had the flock system, I've noticed that you haven't come back to council to ask for any more police officers, since then, at least. But if we were to remove the flock system in 2028 when the contract is up, would you see the need to increase the force?
That's a tough question, but I mean, you could have 100 officers in Sunnyside, and we can't be everywhere. That's just a fact of life. Police departments typically are reactive. The 911 calls comes in and we go out. Now, we are proactive, but you can only be so proactive. I can't see the domestic inside somebody's house. I can't see the stabbing going on inside a house. But this allows us to be, in 40 locations at a time. That's what the system does. You look at the main stat that we can show is the vehicle thefts. I mean, you would have to have, right now we have 30 officers. Washington State's in the bottom 3 of officers per capita in the United States and has been for 20 years.
Okay.
I mean, we usually have, in Sunnyside, most people would be surprised to know this, we usually have 3 officers working the road.
And if I can, and so luckily we haven't had the need to use it for like a child that's missing or a silver alert. But I know other cities have used the flock system and they successfully recovered, child Amber Alerts or silver alerts.
So our system automatically checks WASIC, which is the Washington Crime Information Center computer. And if somebody's entered as an Amber Alert, a silver alert, or any of that kind of stuff, it will automatically hit if they come into Sunnyside on these plates.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilor Vasquez?
Yeah, so when Councilor Hart was speaking, she actually triggered a question. So speaking of the Sunnyside sharing partners, I see a big list. About how many partners do we have, more or less, the number?
About 86.
About 86. So from out of these 86 partners, do you guys know if any of these 86 do give access to federal agencies?
They can access our information through our one-to-one sharing. However, we only share with Washington agencies that are bound by the same laws we are, that do not allow us to share with ICE. It's a crime if we do, and they're not allowed to look for any reproductive rights searches, which would have been the abortion example out of Texas. If anybody in Washington State does that, they'll be charged with a crime.
So technically, if any of these partners were to share, then they would be in violation.
Correct.
Okay.
But is that also out of our hands once they have their hands on that information?
Well, the audit trail would hopefully catch it. I mean, that's what that's for.
And to speak on that, we are able to audit and see other agencies and how they are utilizing our data. That is part of the audit.
And how often is this audit?
I audit this every 30 days.
Every 30 days?
Mm-hmm. I think my final question, and this might be a yes or no question. Do we have oversight on this, but do we have 100% control of the information that is shared, that it does not fall in the hands of border control? What did we say?
ICE would be the concern.
ICE, again.
Yeah, they don't have access to our system. And like I said, if somebody does search our system and turn that information over, I'll call the prosecutor in their county. And if I think that it's being shared with ICE, I'll shut it down and then I'll just come tell you guys. I'm not going to wait for you to make the decision. I'm going to shut it off.
Why didn't we get notified the last time it happened?
They had access. We don't even know if they ever searched our system. But I don't know.
You just don't, so you don't know if
Yeah,
they
but
could
we-
have.
Courtney, I don't know if, do you know that answer?
I mean, ICE was never a one-on-one sharing partner. Border Patrol was a sharing partner, but they're also expanded to criminal matters. And so I don't know of any instance where our data was shared with, for the purposes of civil immigration enforcement. I do not know of any instance where our information was used for that.
Because I was going to ask the same question that Deputy Mayor Hart asked, then why are we on this report, right? Like,
We shared with them at one time. That's why we're on the report. Whether they ever searched our data, I don't know. I don't know if it ever came up or if we were doing the audits at the time. I'm not sure.
It was a while ago that we looked at that report. I mean, that report's almost a year old now. So we would have, I mean, we could possibly try to get that data again and review it, but I don't know of any civil enforcement action that was taken from our data.
okay, well, just, the I don't knows and the not being 100% sure is very unsettling. It's still very unsettling for me. These cameras, the system could be used for good. Essentially it's what it's made for. But to know that we continue to not have 100% control of it, we haven't in the past. And I think the future of it is very uncertain. I still have a lot of questions. And I think that hopefully this is in the beginning of a broader discussion with you all and with council. Because I know that after today's conversation, I just need to process this, and I probably will have a lot more questions regarding this. Our city attorney is not here today. I would also like him to review the contract. And given the financial discrepancies that we've been learning about, and the uncertainty still of the information, I would like us to come back and bring this back to the table for further discussion.
I agree.
I have to agree.
I do too.
Thank you for being here. I think this concludes the presentation portion of it, and we can move into item D, contract for the Flock live camera trailer. I'm going to hand this to you, Chief Lehman.
Well, with the budget concerns, I don't know if this is a moot point or not, but the trailer's up for renewal. And it would be a general fund item out of the law enforcement budget that Jessica can speak to it, but it looks like the amount was reduced when the budget was done. I asked for the funds at the beginning of the year, but they weren't put into the budget. So we just need to make a decision and let Flock know if we're going to renew the trailer or not. It's the one that has primarily been parked over at the motel over here in the 408 Yakima Valley Highway. That's going through the issue with the evictions and all the stuff that's been going on over there. So I'll be here for any questions. Go ahead.
Councilor Zasati's hand went up.
So other than having it there at the hotel, you guys have only used it one more time, which was at the Cinco de Mayo event.
Correct. And the reason was when we moved it away from there, we've had several other areas we'd have liked to have used it, but we've gotten a lot of, we got a lot of flack when we moved it from some of the residents over there. I mean, there's a lot of issues going on over there as far as people breaking into from one room to the other, stealing air conditioner units, harassing each other in the parking lot. It recorded a fight that happened out in the parking lot where one side said the other side started it, and actually the video that was completely false. The side that claimed to be the victim was actually the instigator. So it's been pretty much locked up over there because there's been so many issues.
And just one more question or comment. You also said, we spoke a few weeks ago regarding the hotel issue, that you guys really can't do, other than any phone calls on fights or whatever, you really can't do anything about the stay there. So do you feel like the trailer there really has helped fix anything?
Well, I think it's kept things from getting worse. But I don't know if, two things. I don't know if it's our responsibility to set a trailer over there. It's not our hotel. We're not creating the issue. Is it useful in other areas? Yeah, probably, but is it something that should be deployed all the time? Or would it be deployed all the time? I don't know. It has been deployed all the time because there's been so many issues over there. But realistically, the property owner has got to take some responsibility for their property.
Yes.
Counselor Chavez, if I'm not mistaken, then I'll come to Counselor Dolan.
I know I had a question for Hector just recently. We discussed a little bit about the hotel giving us an update on when the eviction will completely be done, and will that move on if we get rid of that camera? I think that hotel will still be occupied. Am I correct?
That is correct. Right now, to be honest, the trailer's doing some good there. Like Chief Lehman said, it caught that fight. Today I was in talks with the owner of Efugan. It's been good in the sense of catching that. Obviously, there's more that could be utilized. Now, speaking with that, I do have a meeting with Melissa from Yakima County. It was supposed to be tomorrow. Unfortunately, it got canceled due to unforeseen things. As soon as they get re-invited for myself and Corey, we will be able to update the council more. Northwest Justice has been, in talks with G-Bank. And to let you guys know, G-Bank wants us to condemn it. I'm going to be honest. That they don't want to put any money into it. They want us to condemn it so they can wash their hands of it. We don't want to do that because once we do that, we kick out the 2 last residents that are there that need a place to stay. It is everybody else who's in there that are causing the chaos and havoc. Now, I understand that there are precautions that needs to be made. I don't believe the police can just go in and kick everybody out. There has, unfortunately, squatter rights have more than we have, to my understanding. So we are working with, like I said, Melissa, to get those last two families to be relocated. Once that comes, we are going to be in charge of the building until something happens.
So my issue here is Sunnyside's forking the bill for that, correct? With that camera being there.
Correct.
Why can't we hold the bank accountable for some of that too?
Like send them a bill.
Yes.
We could try. I'm not sure how far we would get, but
I don't think it's fair for the residents to have to be forking the full bill for having that camera there, because in reality, Sunnyside is paying for having that camera to protect that area, that property that does not even belong to Sunnyside.
no, I agree.
And I mean, if it was up to the bank, they probably wouldn't want the trailer there anyway, because they're in Las Vegas. They have no care of what's going on in our community. Northwest Justice has been fighting with them, and it's it's a painful thing. So I mean, if there's more that we can do, obviously, under the strain that we have on our physical budget, I don't want to put any more strain on us.
So I want to just end my question here. How long have we had that camera there?
Well, it's been almost 2 years.
2 years.
Or, yeah.
Okay, so City of Sunnyside has paid 2 years for that camera. How much has it cost the City of Sunnyside to have that camera there for 2 years?
Under the old contract, about 40,000.
40,000 to protect a building that doesn't even belong to Sunnyside.
Right.
I'm going to go to Counselor Dolan and then Counselor Vasquez, I believe. Did you have your hand up? Yeah. Okay, so Counselor Galvan, then Counselor Vasquez. Counselor Dolan.
I was just curious about proposing the owner join us in a contract to help pay for the camera sitting there. That's like, why are we?
We can, but this is the same people that shut the power off because they didn't want to pay the power bill. I don't think they're going to pay $48,000 for a 2-year contract.
Who deals with that?
With the bank?
With the power being shut off, who deals with that? We need to?
Yakima County Human Services was able to get them to turn it back on.
Okay, so how about Yakima County Services helping us pay for this camera for them to not come down here anymore and turn it back on?
We can ask. All we can do is ask.
I would think that we should transfer this obligation to the people that benefit from it. I mean, if you say they're in Vegas and they don't care if the building burns the ground or what's,
Yes, they don't. I mean, and that's just my opinion. You know, I know that next door you have Byright and they've had, you know, stuff stolen out of theirs. If we gone today, came in and showed me pictures of his AC, brand new AC, wires got stolen. Pretty much he got gutted out, and then they found all the wires in the trash.
when you condemn the building, what's the process of people in it?
Well, if we condemn the building, they would have to move out.
Or it goes to the owner and says, you need to fix this, or we take over this building. Is that correct?
You know,
That's what happened downtown many years ago is they condemned some of those buildings and the city took over those buildings and then they were able to do, because otherwise it's like you said, we're just paying for us to take care of their assets.
So we have been emailing GBank to let them know that, you know, they need to secure it, you know, but every time a piece of plywood gets put up, it gets taken down. So it's a cat and mouse game. You know, right now, so on the east side of the hotel, some of those rooms are obviously boarded up, but we found some windows in the back that are open, and they put a hole through the walls to walk through all the rooms.
Okay, thank you, Hector. Questions regarding the flock, the item for the contract around the flock video camera trailer. I'm gonna go to Councilor Galvan and then Councilor Vasquez.
So I know the first year we used the opioids money to pay for that contract, contract of the year, which that was what it, you know, we wanted to do that to reduce the overdoses. But now with all these other crimes and then in the hotel, you know, now in my eyes, they're not facing responsibility. They're not doing more than they could do potentially. And it is helping the full-going restaurant, but at the same time, we can't really be using public funds, public taxes to protect one or two businesses because it doesn't benefit the whole community. So
the plan for that trailer was to move it to multiple hotels, maybe a couple weeks at one, couple weeks at the other, because there's a couple that we have issues at with the opioid funds. Well, then all the things happened at the hotel, and that's why it ended up having to stay in there because we had so many issues there.
I think we need to talk to the full-going owner and tell them, hey, you know what, at the end of the month, it's going to go away and you need to install some sort of security system on your dime. I mean, it's a $300, $400 security system that they could buy versus the $48,000 that the city is looking to spend.
We'll go to Councilor Vasquez.
Yeah. And, you know, I just want to kind of put this on the record and just share this information because I'm hearing all the reasons why, you know, we shouldn't have this. And I understand that 100%. But I don't know if you recall, Mayor Frosto, actually, before we even got elected, we actually visited a business right across that motel. And these business owners actually shared with us that, you know, they have witnessed so many things happen across the street and that they had actually seen, you know, right when school would end, they would see girls, you know, with backpacks going to the motel and like there was just a lot of prostitution going on there. Kids asking for food across the street because their parents were drugged out in those motels. Drugs were constantly being just exchanged and it was just a hot spot of just all and every criminal activity. And these business owners actually shared with me and the mayor at the time, sharing that, you know, why does the city not care? Why is the city not getting involved to protect the youth? Why is the city not doing something about this very visible and just issue that's happening and everyone just drives by it like if it didn't exist? And, you know, so these concerns were actually brought up by a business owner and by other business owners around the area, bringing it to our attention saying the city of Sunnyside doesn't care. You know, the city of Sunnyside could care less. Everyone sees this. We all know that this is a problem, an issue, yet nothing is being done. So I'm just kind of bringing that to the table just because this is something that we actually heard and received. So while now I'm hearing, why is this the city's fault, or why is this now the city's responsibility, right? So it's always like we can never please everyone or just kind of fix everything. But I'm just kind of putting this on the table because all of these questions just kind of came into mind while I'm hearing this conversation, and just wanted to put that on the table as well.
Yeah. And maybe I'd like to add to that. I think that the solution to those issues are not going to be resolved by a camera trailer, right? I think that it's a multifaceted problem, and it really requires a multifaceted approach. And we have somebody on the here on council that's a mental health therapist, and I'm sure that you see so much going on, and so much need that exists in Sunnyside when it comes to mental health resources, when we're trying to combat poverty, when we're trying to make sure that we are investing in our youth, to make sure that, we mitigate, any possibility that we, lose them along the way. And those are like the questions that I would love for us to really have and bring to the table with possible solutions. Because I can assure you, and you can probably attest to this, Councilor Chavez, that, these issues won't be resolved by a video camera alone. So with that said, I'd like to motion not to authorize the interim city manager to sign a contract with Flock to continue using the live video camera for the next 2 years.
I'll second.
Just point of interest, as,
Is there discussion?
yes, but as, point of interest, usually the mayor is not the one making the motions. So if you would like one of us to make that motion, that would probably be,
I believe the mayor can make a motion.
I can.
okay, I just want to be clear that
Yeah.
we mention it because there's,
Yeah.
could be some issue on that, but.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
I
possible,
just, go ahead.
according to MRC.
I'm just, want us
But
to
thank you
be,
for that.
just be playing according to Hoyle. So we have a,
Second, is there any other discussion? Hearing none.
Counselor Chavez.
So this is for the motion to not authorize, yes.
or are we tabling it?
Counselor Zassetti.
Yes.
Counselor Vasquez.
Yes.
Counselor Dolan.
Yes.
Counselor Gavan.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor.
No.
Mayor.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I'd just like to point out that this is probably one of the best discussions that we've had on this council, in my opinion. And so I just really want to extend the gratitude to all of you for really fully engaging in this. And I'm sure that we still probably can't see eye to eye on a lot of things. But there's a lot that's been put in front of us right now that I just feel like we came down to the right decision. But
We were put here by our constituents and they voiced their opinion tonight. So I think that it's a wait and see game now. And I went through, my father purchased a building here in Sunnyside a long time ago, and they started going around and condemning all these buildings. And what the people did that owned them, they fixed them. And so I guess we'll see what happens.
that's another great conversation that I would like for us to delve into, is repurposing of buildings. Yeah.
I think we owe it to our community. We cannot continue spending the money on one place and 2 years being there for one place. I don't think it's fair for our community to have to fork that bill out. And that's why I had to vote that way.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Moving into 9, Public comment for non-active agenda items. Hector, is there anybody on that list? Anybody that wanted to sign up for the last public comment? Council, are you okay with recessing for 2 minutes while we allow folks? Yes. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and recess at 8:28. We'll be back at 8:30.
I just looked at that.
Thank you for a good discussion.
It's a tough one.
It's not over yet.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, it can go any direction. And I don't know that, I mean, it's a great deterrent. We have a Chief Lehman. Chief Lehman. Do we still have that,
Good luck.
do we still have that? I guess it's like a trailer that would have the signs on it that says your speed is 35 and then 20.
Might have that.
Oh, yes.
Well, and my question is, I was given a whole bunch of cameras that could be mounted on there and park it down there as a deterrent. You know, they don't work, but who's gonna know that?
Yeah, it gives me anxiety. You know, I'm here and it's, you know, it's like, so like I literally.
This would just be a dummy. A Sunnyside asset that isn't.
Not Saturday, Sunday, like I said, just research it. Yeah. Y luego que se me olvidan las. It's like
These
so
are
mad.
cameras like you see mounted in, like that one right over there.
So, yeah.
So you get one of your guys. I've got something like the motors and everything. You could.
So like I felt like I had like.
Tell me something up like this.
I wrote down some questions. Oh, what? But then like, I felt like. Yeah, so I think that felt that others were like, yeah, that was part of my, you know, issue. Yeah. And then 2024 is when we started.
Those cameras were there. And you just.
I noticed that sometimes you like to use it to the main phone and
They don't know anything.
Yeah, it's different. So I was really confused on it too, when it was, yeah.
Initially like looking things up and then seeing that this was on the app for a while.
They don't care.
That it was like separate.
Oh.
Because-
Yeah, are you next?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you next?
Yeah, go ahead. You can go. Are you sure?
When I was gonna ask Jessica,
be benefiting.
yeah, so really, we didn't have any money.
So I wanna honestly
Oh, maybe
say
not-
that
maybe
it's
did.
not that we did.
I guess I could cross the line.
Who else was there? Oh, maybe Pat.
Are we allowed to leave chamber?
Yeah, we'll wait.
Couple minutes.
Attorney General.
Yes, for lack of better words, but I think that the way that it's treated, the budget is never. That I know, because it's always estimated. It's always just estimates, and I just think that the estimate. So that's.
Guys,
So it doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
That it wasn't allocated.
We kind of worded, but we're just like.
That's what you agree. So all of it.
Major adjustments and tying notes up again.
I know.
That all.
Giving benefits.
And the only thing that I think that it weighs a lot into this. But at the same time.
Call us back to order. All right, let's wrap this up.
Just look forward to that.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, I'm gonna start calling us back to session. If we can please take our seats and so we can call this meeting back to order and wrap it up for tonight.
Pretty close to doing it now.
I wanted to be last, just to give back people a chance.
Thank you. Okay, Okay, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting back to order at 8:32 PM. Let's go ahead and go into the last public comment on the agenda and wrap us up for today. I'm going to go ahead and start with the first name on the list. It's Evangelina Aguilar. And same applies. Citizens are advised that they must limit the remarks to the city council to 3 minutes. And council may refer your items to staff to review under research for a presentation at a future council meeting. Please start with your name and your state, or your city of residence for the record.
Evangelina Aguilar, and I live in Granger, Washington. But I was a resident here in Sunnyside for over 30 years. I just wanted to bring this to the council because I think it's a good day today to educate about undocumented people. It's a little bit of education for the public, so I want to share it with you. Because how do the undocumented individuals in the U.S. pay taxes? Undocumented immigrants pay taxes without a social security number by obtaining an individual taxpayer identification number issued by the Internal Revenue Service. The ITIN system allows individuals to file tax returns regardless of their immigration status, enabling undocumented immigrants to fulfill their tax obligations. The financial impact of undocumented immigrant tax contribution is substantial. Households led by undocumented immigrants, the best available widely cited estimate comes from the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy, ITEP. Undocumented immigrants paid roughly 96 to 100 billion in federal, state, and in local taxes in 2022. 89.8 billion in total taxes in 2023, with ITEP's July 2024 study commonly summarized as nearly 97 billion or almost 100 billion. ITIN holders may be eligible for certain federal tax credits, though with limitations. The analysis confirmed that undocumented immigrants have tax filing responsibilities and face potential consequence for non-compliance with tax laws. And there's more information on here, which I'm going to leave with you so that I got a copy for each of you, I just thought it would be a good opportunity to educate about that.
Hector, what you want? Thank you. Thank you for the public comment. Up next, Juan Aguilar.
Before I start, can we get that image of the car, the overhead image of the car back? Is that okay? Can we bring that back? Just so I can, I'm trying to make a point here.
Is that the one you mean?
Yeah, that's the one I wanted. Yeah. Okay, so when I'm going to do a presentation for something, I'm going to use images like actual evidence of what we're talking about. And this image is not an actual picture of what the camera sees. So I don't know why this image is even here. It's kind of weird. Everything that was talked about up here, that presentation was not true. You want to know something, you should go home and look up cybersecurity and everything you can about it. Okay, your phones, your computers, everything can be hacked. Okay, if you don't want somebody to know your information, don't put it on your stuff, on your devices. That's the best way to do it. Cover your cameras, okay, because they can be looked at. This is something that somebody can look through your device and look at you. Pull out your phone. Okay, pull out your phone. At night, it gets updated every night. And rolls out a new feature, okay? And you can look at it and it unlocks just by looking at it with the little camera on your phone. And you're gonna tell me that these things can't be updated by the company to have facial recognition? I don't believe it. I have personally observed flock cameras positioned near churches and schools in Sunnyside. I asked the city to verify their precise locations and immediately disclose whether they record vehicles arriving at worship services, school events, counseling, food distribution, or other protected community activity. Families should not have to choose between participating in community life and being entered in a searchable database. If this level of surveillance is truly harmless and necessary for safety, would council members, the police chief, and all officers serving our city accept a camera outside of each of their homes continuously recording every vehicle that visits? I do not want that. No resident should be subjected to it. But that's the point. Safety does not erase privacy. The same dignity and freedom from constant tracking that city leaders would expect at home should apply to every Sunnyside resident. If it is too invasive for those that that govern and police us. It is too invasive for the people that they serve.
Thank you. Seems like a name is crossed out. So up next is Teodora Martinez. Marisela Santana, his name is crossed out, correct? It is crossed out, so you don't want to do public, okay, just making sure.
Hi, my name is Theodora Martinez, and I live here in the Lower Yakima Valley. I just wanted to remind the city council about their code of conduct. Recently on the news and in the newspaper, there was an incident that happened with one of the city council members. And I just want to remind the city council of, some of other employees who work for the city and how they were questioned about their behaviors. And I just want to remind the current city council that, they're still a representative of the city, and what happens outside of the city council is, chambers, they need to be aware about how it is affecting their constituents. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is Jim Stevens.
Jim Stevens, Sunnyside, Washington. I want to speak to that same issue for this council person. I watched the body cam from this. It was a miscarriage of justice. This looked like it was a target job. The person that was supposed, it was an assault case or domestic violence. The person that was supposed to have been assaulted was in the camera and says, she wasn't trying to hurt me. She wouldn't do that to me. She just pushed me, shoved me once. Well, the officer saw this and this. Was it more than once? And he was trying to talk this young kid into making a statement. I didn't see that he was even offered the chance to say, do you want to consult an attorney first before you make a comment? This was a hit job. It was absolutely ridiculous. Should never have happened. And I really question this officer and his motives. And I question the officer that turned her over and handcuffed her behind her back. And then they have videos of her handcuffed to the wall like a pit bull in the jail. How the hell did that get into the news media? I have never seen anybody incarcerated in the city of Sunnyside and their picture in the news, ever. I think the biggest mistake that council person made when she refused to be a puppet of Ella, E-L-L-A, I think that was a mistake. She has been intimidated and bullied since then, which is common practice of that group. I feel really volatile about this. I think this is an injustice to our elected officials. And this is more like communism than it is the American way. So at any rate, I think the rest of you really need to be cognizant of that. Let's support the American way, the Pledge of Allegiance as to who we are, why we have the freedoms we do, and why we're able to conduct business in this community, and hopefully profitably. Appreciate your attention. Thanks very much.
Thank you for your public comment. Up next on the list is Maria Fernandez.
Maria with EYA, NEA Adelante, and it's called EYA. The organizational name is EYA, EYA, not Ella. And volatile? No, I don't think so. I think unstable is more the descriptor. So I wanted to talk about the flock system and really just the dubiousness that it appears to be. I had requested some records from the city through our attorneys, and oddly enough, this particular email came to me as part of the records, even though it was completely different from what I had been asking for as public records. This came from a Professor Angelina Godoy with the University of Washington Center for Human Rights. And in her email, she was informing Chief Lehman about this report coming out by the University of Washington because they had received public records stating that the Homeland Security, Border Patrol had been accessing Sunnyside's flock system. And Chief Lehman's response was exactly this. This could be a major problem. How are agencies searching our stuff without us being a sharing agency? We just looked at an agency in Georgia and Massachusetts have searched our database with ICE as the reason, and we aren't sharing with those agencies. I think that speaks volumes to a lack of control. You cannot control the system. You cannot control which data is being shared. And I'm so glad that you brought that point up about the picture that was being utilized, which is completely not even appropriate for how a flock system works, because I think it speaks to the vendor itself being very dubious in the way that it portrays the system. I think that the city needs to really reconsider any vendor, when you are leading a community that is 86% Latino majority, any vendor working with Border Patrol, ICE, Homeland Security for those purposes of terrorizing our communities should never be contracted. They should never be contracted. Our children are walking around with mental health issues because they know their families are being terrorized. And the fact that the city would voluntarily enter into a contract with a vendor that utilizes agencies like ICE and is dubious in its presentation of it and its control of it is exceptionally hollow. It rings absolutely hollow in a community where we see firsthand our families being terrorized. And when you talk about the contract, you all should be looking at the contract for breach of contract on the part of the vendor as a way of getting out of that contract, because there are terms that I'm sure have been violated in that contract.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Next on the list is Herminia Esqueda.
Herminia Esqueda, resident of Sunnyside. Thank you for this excellent discussion and voting no on the renewal of the contract, but I have more questions. Can we add the flock contract to the agenda, not just the trailer? Private businesses should have their own security. Isn't it the city's responsibility to hold businesses liable and accountable for the criminal activity happening on their property and for our limited budget to be used to invest in prevention? Is it possible for someone to enter a case number and a reason for a plate that is not actually related to that case number? Do the manual audits include an audit of whether the searches were actually connected to that case, including other agency searches? And that would mean we would have access to those cities' cases as well. And how do we have assurance that the other Washington state agencies are not sharing information with others? I was not assured of that tonight. Do you have a redacted actual image video of what the cameras actually record and not a stock photo image? What is considered excessive use? Because the data shows an average of 7 searches per case. So what is excessive? I am concerned that federal sources access Prosser database, even though they were assured it was not possible. Is our information part of the larger database? The only way to really control if it is kept in a completely separate database, locked and managed by our own IT. How many actual license plate numbers are collected in a 24-hour period? Multiply that by the number of days in the retention period. That is a gross invasion of our privacy. Can we reduce it to 3 days? Every driver in this city has had their information retained when less than 1% of us are criminals. That is a violation of our civil liberties and civil rights. The budget now shows then $150,000 per year with a budget line item of $25,000. So already $125,000 over budget, more like $750,000 for a 5-year period. That wasn't even budgeted. Shouldn't that have been caught by the person responsible for that budget line item rather than just blame it on someone who is no longer here? And no actual data was found in the report other than the word of the presenter about our criminal deterrence. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Monty Johnson.
Okay, again, Monty Johnson. I've been a resident of Sunnyside for nearly 40 years now. I just like to add a couple of things to what I said earlier about the flock system. First of all, I would encourage all of you to read that report by UW. It's only a few pages long, but again, UW is our primary institute of higher education. They have a reputation. It is impeccable. And like all higher institutes of education, they are very jealous of that reputation. The last thing they want to do is to be seen to be putting out statements that are false. So they bend over backwards to verify and do whatever they can to make sure that the information they're putting out is true, okay, can be verified. In that report, they did a survey of law enforcement agencies across the state. And they gave a number of examples of agencies that did not share information with Border Patrol or ICE, yet those agencies, when they did audits, still showed searches for Border Patrol or ICE. So they went into the fact that, yeah, a law enforcement agency can share, or if they don't share, maybe there's a backdoor. In other words, the government has some way of hacking into the system, or they have some way or agreement with the company itself, or there could be a side door where there's somebody within law enforcement that's sharing that information with them. My point in this is that even if we basically say the system is locked down and no outside groups can get into them, there's examples where others have done that, and that's simply not the case. Okay, so I'm very concerned about that and how safe that information is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Next on the list is Juan Alvarez.
Good evening, Council. My name is Juan Alvarez, here from Sunnyside. I just had a quick comment on a comment made by one of the other city residents. I've been coming to city councils for about a little over a year now, and it's the constant same people spreading their rhetoric that's unfounded and flat out lies. Tonight we're talking about flock cameras and the technologies that comes with them, and that they can be used for good or bad. The other thing about technologies is you can fact check things in almost real time. So it was mentioned earlier, and I won't even mention the person's name, that Sunnyside in 2011 had the same homicide rate as the city of Chicago. The city of Chicago had 433 homicides in 2011. The source is the Chicago Police Department. In 2011, Sunnyside had 1 homicide. The source is the Yakima Herald. So take it for what you want. The city needs to stop paying attention to the people that are just trying to twist the narrative. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Next on the list is Marisela Sanchez.
Hello, Council. Marisela Sanchez from Prosser. I really wanted to commend this council for the deep level of discussion that you had this evening. I thought that every single council member was asking very deeply thought out, very important questions. And I wanted to point out that our city council in Prosser is quite similar to yours in that there is a broad variety of people serving on council. So there are some council members who are younger, some who are older, council members with different life experiences. We have council members with different political leanings. On this issue, the council had a full consensus. After finding out what we did from the University of Washington report, which is that the data from the flock system was being used in ways that were absolutely contrary to what flock had ensured us they would be used for. The mayor had no idea, the police chief had no idea, the council had no idea that the information was being accessed in ways that we had been assured they would not be accessed. So that led our council, as varied as they may be in their very different beliefs, to have a full consensus that this was not a system that the city could trust or continue to pay taxpayer dollars to.
Thank you so much, Councilor Sanchez, actually council member over in Prosser. Thank you for being here. I think that ends our list. I just want to make sure I'm not missing. Oh, Mike, thank you. Mike? Mike, there you are. Okay.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. I appreciate all the fine questions you guys have developed tonight. I'm with HLA Engineering and was just in the area, so I thought I'd stop in and visit council and in person. Looking forward to the study section that next Wednesday, I believe, is your first Wednesday council, or first study session. And we're looking forward to bringing you forward all the information from your questions from the last council regarding the well and the different contracts, as well as some different funding opportunities and things and how they're developed. And along with that, I'm going to be bringing with me Rob Scott, who is the primary lead on the well, and a young engineer with us that is going to be taking over the lead for Sunnyside for your guys' help. And her name is Marla Meza. So looking forward to continued great questions and discussions like you guys had tonight and last week, and appreciate all the civic duty that council members do. So thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Okay. That ends the public comment period for today's agenda. We're going to go ahead and move on to wrap us up with B, other reports, announcements, and or questions from council. I'll go ahead and start at the end with you, Councilor Chavez. We've moved part of the agenda to the top, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump over to item B.
So we got together with Hector and our Parks and Rec crew, and we're getting ready next Friday to start putting up the poles over for the shade over at the park at what's up in the hill? Upland Park. Yes. So we're getting ready for that. So I'll be getting a hold of Mr. Gary for the poles, and I'll be picking those up on Friday. You did state that we have to paint them, correct?
So just got done with a parks audit. There are some stuff that we need to go over and make sure it is taken care of prior to us pulling up the poles.
If we need to schedule a meeting, let me know and we'll figure something out so we can get that going.
Yes, I will definitely send it out tomorrow.
Because I do want to get this done this coming weekend if possible. I know we've held it off for a long time for our community up on top, and I want to make sure that we get that taken care of for them.
I will send you the information that I have tomorrow morning, and then we can discuss it. And obviously with the chair, Ms. Ruby, and Mr. Gary.
And I want to add also, tomorrow school starts. I want to wish our kids good luck, study hard, and put the work in this coming year. I wish good luck to all our kids going back to school, and also to our kids that are going back to college. So all schools, all trades. Good luck to them. And I want to do a special shout out to my son. It's his birthday today. I'm sorry I'm not there, but as soon as I get out of here, we'll see you at home.
Go ahead, Councilor Sasati.
Well, I guess this was a lot, and kids going back to school, going back to the flock system. I lived an experience where my parents were going through getting their, citizenship status. And I was 5 or 6 years old. And it was so traumatic that I can still remember everything, To have my kid as a second generation citizen ask me questions and be afraid. I wish I could tell the community, you know what? I 100% trust our system. and we're going to be okay. You know, it's tough. You know, that's why this is the situation for me to, you know, I've been having a lot of anxiety as I knew this was coming up because, and I didn't want to cry. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay.
You know, the separation of families. I could have been that kid. I could have been that kid. I was questioned by, I don't know if it was attorneys. I don't know if it was Border Patrol, ICE agents. I don't know. I was 5 or 6 years old. But telling me, asking me if your parents get sent to Mexico. At the time, I didn't even know what Mexico was. But ask, who are you going to stay with? Who do you want to stay with? Obviously, I wanted to stay with my parents. I'm glad the situation worked out, but it's not working out for a lot of people. So I just wanted to put that out there that, you know, this is something that I want us to continue to talk about. And sorry guys. Okay, move on.
Don't apologize. Thank you for your report. Counselor Vasquez?
Yeah, so I just wanted to commend everyone for being here today. Thank you all for showing up. Honestly, it was really nice seeing all the seats pretty much full, and you know, just continue to come. And just to remind you all, starting September, we will be having our meetings now on Wednesdays. So come on Wednesdays, bring other people, and just invite them. That way, they're all aware of what's going on and staying updated with us all. So thank you for being here.
Counselor Dolan?
I want to echo that. That was good. And having input from the people in this town is what we are here to do. Is we have our own ideas about how things should work or could work, but when we don't hear anything and all those seats are empty, except for a couple of people I know, that's it's a really good thing.
Counselor Galvan? Thank you.
Yeah, this past Friday, I went to Chulita's Bakery and Espresso. They're located at 1818 East Edison Avenue here in front of the high school. Just remember to support local businesses, stop by, say hi, get a coffee, bread. And also with tomorrow being the first day of school, I want to see if the city manager can direct extra patrols, just as a reminder for people to slow down in the school zones. I mean, maybe for the first week, I know maybe people get, you know, used to kids not being around and they forget that it's the first day of school. So, you know, some extra patrols for the first week would probably do us good. That's it.
Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I'd like to echo some kudos to the folks who've not only come to the council meeting and had their opinions and their worries and concerns addressed, or at least spoken out so that we can figure out how do we respond, how do we find out what to do next. But I did want to also point out that some of the committees that I serve on, like the Arts Committee, they're getting ready to do some really fun things, I think, in September. I don't really want to give away the surprise. One of them is they're going to have some sort of a cruise in, and we're going to be working with the PD to find out what that's going to look like, so we stay out of trouble with cruising through Sunnyside. That's been a long, I think there's only a few of those a year, but that's what our commission's kind of wanted to plug into Sunshine Days. The other thing is we met with LTAC. We're a little behind this year with LTAC getting the request for proposals out, but folks who are interested in that, I think they're going to be available all day up. The qualifications and policies are going to be updated if they haven't already been on our website. So folks who have proposals that they want to do, go ahead and start gathering your stuff and check out what those proposals require. See, I'm trying to remember there was something else I did this week besides Finance Committee. Oh, ribbon cutting. That was a lot of fun. Should have stuck around and got some espresso, but it was pretty crowded in there for the open house. I hope they did well. Other than that, I just want to say the only way democracy works is if you use your voice. And you use your voice, that is really, really important so that everybody gets a chance to be heard. And then the other way, to make your voice be heard is remember to vote. So we don't have anything to vote on right now, but we have a lot to think about. So thank you for that. And that's it.
Thank you. I do want to echo my colleagues here. Just thank you to everybody who came out today. It really does take hearing from you all for all of us to understand the direction that our work should be going and what conversations we should be prioritizing. Like I said before, I know that most of us probably agree on almost nothing. But one thing that we could agree on is public safety and making sure that the community that we are here to represent is well taken care of. So I continue to invite those who have concerns to email, to message us, to message the city manager, but show up, follow through, be here, voice your concern. This chamber is yours. We were elected by you all, and we have, our due diligence is to make sure that we are hearing you all and we are making sure that, this co-governance continues existing. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for speaking out. And I hope it's not the only time that I see most of y'all here at council with us as we continue with the flock conversation. After that is upcoming council meetings. So like Councilor Vasquez mentioned, per an amendment to the ordinance, we are shifting our meetings from Mondays to Wednesdays, and that's going to start next week. Wednesday, September 2nd, we will have our first study session taking place. That's going to follow by our first regular meeting happening on Wednesday, September 9th. Followed by our last meeting of the month, Wednesday, September 23rd. Announcements have been going out for the past month at the very least, and it's been posted all over our social medias. So, and we've continued to remind people here on the dais. So remember that next week, it's not Monday, it's a Wednesday, and we'll continue sending out those reminders, I'm sure. Other than that, I'll go ahead and toss it over to the city manager for city manager report. And there's no executive session, so I think after we hear from all of you all, we can go ahead and conclude.
Well, we're encroaching on 3 hours, which is the goal of our council meetings. So we don't need a lot to discuss here, guys. Is that correct? Anybody have anything urgent want to bring up? Katie, Marissa, okay. Well, there's my report.
Well, other than that, welcome to the team, to our new deputy city clerk. If you all need anything, you know where to find her. Going to be helping Katie a whole bunch, and already see her around City Hall a few times. I've had to go in there for meetings. So without further ado, if there is no objection from the council, see a hand up.
Yeah, did we cover item 10?
We did. We moved that to the beginning of the meeting. That was the swearing in.
They also
10A.
in front of us.
I guess the only question I had was how many people had applied for these positions?
2, one for board, one for planning, and that we had another one for planning come in, but it was after the agenda was posted. So I think we're going to be able to bring them up next council meeting.
Okay, 2 questions then. Were we still doing interviews for these positions?
No, we're not doing interviews.
No, not at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, but
But I mean, that's a good thing. We can talk about that in rules. I know we've had these conversations, and I'm actually not opposed to integrating that idea. So thank you for that. Okay. Any objection from the council? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and adjourn at 9:06 p.m. Thank you for being with us today.